fact, actually, Theekshana in the first group stage before the Super 12s. So Sri Lanka batting first. It isn't quite as hot in Dubai today as it has been, around about 25 degrees, so a nice playing temperature this evening. Will we see some dew? Well, we're going to find out in a short while. Play is going to start in around about 10 minutes' time. I've got Alex Hartley with me, and I've got Stuart Law with me. Stuart, first things first, you've had some personal news the last day or so. I'm sorry to start with this, but people say to me, well, Stuart Law's there, he's in the news today, why haven't you asked him about it, or at least got some sort of reaction? Let's deal with that first. You've left Middlesex. Well, how do you feel about it? What's your reaction?
Oh, look, I'm disappointed. I thought we had, the way we built this young group around some solid experienced players, and bringing in Mark Stoneman, I think, at the top of the order was a great way. The way we finished last year was, very promising, and looking to springboard into next year with that formula. So it's disappointing. The club's made their call. Nothing much I can do about it now. I've just got to, dust myself off. Have a bit of time to think, and then plan my next move. So, as I say, disappointing. I'd like to thank everybody at Middlesex who have supported us and understood what we're trying to do. A lot of people didn't quite understand what we were trying to do, and I just hope that the boys that continue to play there have every success and be the best they can be, because they're a great bunch of young men.
Well, good luck to you in your next endeavour. It's great to have you with us this afternoon. I promise not to ask you about it again. We can focus on Australia against Sri Lanka. In England's group, England have played 1-2. England play Australia on Saturday. I think everyone's looking forward to that, Alex.
Oh.
But first things first, it's Sri Lanka for Australia today.
It is, and even still, every single game that's played in tournaments like this, they're huge games, aren't they? So even though we're all looking forward to Saturday as English fans, this one is still a big game, because you tournament cricket, it can become crucial later on down the line.
How do you see this one, Stuart? I mean, Australia on Saturday against South Africa, I think we were all watching it and wondering what was going to happen at the end. Then Australia sort of stumbled over the line a bit in the end. A bit like the long-distance runner that was just out of puff, but just went past their opponent and collapsed through the tape at the end. Yeah,
they got on the right side though. That's a key moment for the Australian team. They didn't play as well as they can do, but they got across the line. South Africa put up a great fight, and they got the chocolates the other night. Sri Lanka, on the other hand, I think Sri Lanka is a real tough opponent for Australia. They don't like the spin and the mystery spin that they've got. Hasaranga and Theekshana who can provide a lot of problems. The only thing is they'll have to do it under lights in the dew. But it's basically a set up for a great match. As Alex said before, you can't afford to lose early games. If you keep winning at this stage, obviously, the more you win, the better you get. But you can't afford to lose one. Can't afford to lose two. Australia at the moment, both these teams sitting on one win each.
The good news is the players are out there early, and I say that because we're going to have the Sri Lanka national anthem in just a moment, which takes, as we know, quite a long time. And I did one of their games early in the tournament, and the game started 2 minutes late because the anthems took a long time to get done. So the players are lining up. We're going to hear the anthems in just a moment. Just very quickly, Alex, this batting second thing, batting first thing, is it a big deal, do you think?
Well,
or
it
is
looks
it just
like
the way it's turned out so far?
If you're looking at the stats, it looks like it is a big deal, doesn't it? The dew, no one knows when the dew's going to turn up, and the longer the tournament goes on, the more we'll find out.
Yeah. Right, the two teams lining up, and here we go with the anthems. Fair to say, not too many people in the ground. Well, a few Sri Lanka supporters in, applauding their national anthem. Now Australia's turn.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, all beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair.
And we'll be hearing that anthem quite a bit over the next few months, not just in this tournament, but we'll be bringing you the Ashes as well when they get underway on the 8th of December. We'll bring you ball-by-ball commentary on the whole series. But we are focusing today on Australia against Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka will be batting first. Australia chasing the other day against South Africa, just getting over the line as we were mentioning. Do we see Australia as, you know, right up there in terms of threatening to win this tournament? I mean, a lot of people talked about England, a lot of people talked about India, a lot of people talk now about Pakistan. I was talking about them before the tournament. I thought they had a great chance, but do you see Australia as, if we talk about 4 semi-finalists, are we talking about those 4 teams? Are they our favourites? Are those who we think are going to get there?
Do you know what? I'm not sure about Australia. I think that they've not been in form at the top of the order. You know, Finch hasn't scored runs for quite a while. He's always one of those players that you're willing to score runs and you want him to do really well. And then only going in with one spinner, Zampa. I know Maxwell can bowl you a few overs as an off spinner, but for me, I just feel like something is missing in that Australia side.
No, I agree. Australia do struggle with the playing spin as well, and as this tournament wears on, the amount of traffic that's been through these grounds with the IPL, the wickets are going to churn up more. There's going to be more spin friendly. It'll take the big quicks out of play, but you know, they're just desperate to prove everybody wrong. Everyone's writing them off, which is where Australia love to be.
Yeah, and the one thing I would say is that if you look at the group they're in, West Indies have already lost 2 games and they seem to be a bit of a threat. Bangladesh, to me, don't look strong enough. So and they've already beaten South Africa. So this perhaps is a really crucial game for them. If they were to win today, then that takes them quite a significant step forward.
Yeah, it does. Looking at that group, you know, they are in a really strong position, especially if they do win today and they get themselves over the line. And like Stewie just said, you know, they love people criticising them, saying, well, we're going to prove you wrong, you know, this is our strongest 11, this is our team, and we're going to get through to the semi-finals.
Well, the game's about to get underway. Pathum Nissanka is out there, the right-hander, opening the batting for Sri Lanka, and Kusal Perera is alongside him as well. Kusal Perera, it's fair to say, he likes to go from the start generally in T20s, very aggressive, strike rate of 132 in T20 internationals. We're about to find out. This does feel like a big game for these two sides. Whoever wins today will take a significant step forward. Okay, you're not done by any means. There's still a lot of cricket to play, and that's the same for England as well. They're not done yet. I mean, they've won 2, but you know, there are difficult games to come. Australia, South Africa, Sri Lanka, although we did see Sri Lanka in England in the summer and they were poor. They really were. But these are different conditions. It's a world tournament. And we're going to see how it develops. It's fascinating the next couple of weeks. Here's Starc to bowl to Nissanka. The first ball of the match, left arm over the wicket, and Nissanka pushes into the offside, off for a quick single. There's a fumble out in the covers there. I think he would have got home in any case. Glenn Maxwell coming in there in the covers. Just went to pick up and shy at the stumps and fumbled the ball. Didn't pick it up cleanly. So Sri Lanka underway. And that was actually pretty good running from Nissanka. It was a tight delivery from Starc on off stump. And it was defended by Nissanka, but he also saw the opportunity to get a single. So we're in the Dubai International Stadium. This match being played in the Dubai International Stadium this evening in Dubai. Not a big crowd in. Certainly nowhere near as big as in the other evening for that India against Pakistan match. Talk about the ground staff, the groundsman here at this ground. He must look at the fixture list and go, not another match. It's just relentless, you know, IPL and now the T20 World Cup. Here goes Starc, bowls to Perera, and Perera edges that over the gully region, backward point, down towards deep third. Hazlewood comes round to pick up, and Perera comes back for a very fortunate 2 there. That could easily have gone in the air straight to the fielder. It went in the air just over the fielder at backward point, and Starc nearly making a breakthrough first up. Just a fraction of a way movement.
Yeah, we have seen both Shaheen Afridi and Mitch Starc, you know, both left armers, both tall, very fast, pitch the ball up early to try and swing it. That's what we're getting here from Mitch Starc. He swung the first 2. These Kookaburra balls don't normally swing more than, you know, if you're lucky to get a 1 over out of them, maybe 2. But the wicket looks, you know, a little bit more conducive.
Starc bowls to Perera outside the off stump, big swing. Well, we see that from Perera again, and swing from Starc as well. Swing from the bowler, swing from the batter, and he missed it and it went through to the keeper, through to Matthew Wade. Good delivery from Starc. Perera saw it, his eyes lit up. He thought, I'll have a bit of this, but he missed it.
It's the way that Perera plays, though. He's modelled himself on Sanat Jayasuriya. He likes to go from ball 1. He's not afraid to play his shots. If he hit that, it might have ended up back in Abu Dhabi, I reckon.
Yeah, he does like to go for it, and you know, it's the way he plays, and if it comes off, it's spectacular. Here is Starc going into bowl to him. That's way down the leg side. Not a great delivery from Mitchell Starc. It wouldn't have been such a bad ball to a right-hander, but it was to Kusal Perera, taken by Wade, wide, signalled by umpire Dar. So we've got Aline Dar and Richard Illingworth as our standing umpires tonight. Murray Erasmus is the television umpire. Just the 1 game today in this T20 World Cup. We've become used to 2 games per day, but where they've sorted out the schedule, just the 1. If you're wondering why we weren't with you earlier, or whether we just missed a game today, no, we haven't. Here is Starc, 4 for no wicket, Sri Lanka in this first over. There is a slip in, and Starc moves in now and bowls to Perera. It's well pitched up, it's driven into the offsides, half stopped in the covers, and they go through for a single. Perera there looking for that extra cover region and deflecting off the fielder at extra cover and going back towards the stumps in actual fact, but Starc couldn't race back and pick it up.
Yeah,
good stop there. Who's that?
That's Marcus Stoinis.
Stoinis there, yeah, at extra cover.
It's a great shot from Perera. Didn't try to overhit that one. The one before, it looked like he tried to put everything into it and just lost his shape. That one held his shape, and it still raced off the bat. Good diving stop at cover to his left by Marcus Stoinis.
5 for no wicket. Starc goes in to bowl to Nissanka, and Nissanka just feels for that one a bit. Again, it's half stopped. This time at backward point by Steve Smith, and they get another run. Diving away to his right-hand side, just deflecting off his hands and away from him, so into a small gap. And another single, 6 for no wicket in this first Mitchell Starc over. Saying it's a bit cooler in Dubai tonight, but he's still got a good sweat on, Mitchell Starc. He's puffing as he's walking back as well. What's it like for these players, I wonder, to play a big match like this in front of very few spectators? You can hear the calls from the spectators echoing around this ground. It's a spectacular ground, the ring of fire, floodlights, but not many people in. Starc goes bounding in, bowls to Perera. Perera drives, doesn't really time that at all. Hits it into the onside towards mid-wicket, and there is no run. That is Marsh who picks that up. And that's the end of the first over. 6 for no wicket after 1. Stuart Law's with me.
Yeah, steady start from both, really. Run a ball off that first over. Just sizing each other up. 2 big heavyweights sizing each other up in the first round. And I think the Sri Lankans will have a look at this over too. And if there's a repeat over from Starc, the third one, I think that's when they'll try to attack.
Yeah. The man on the mic in the stadium tonight, I think he's going to have his work cut out. It was quite a straightforward day for him, the India-Pakistan game at the weekend, but I think he's going to have his work cut out tonight to whip everyone up.
You didn't hear him the other night, did you? You couldn't hear him. There was that much noise in the stadium.
He was still trying, though. He was still trying.
I was talking to Matthew Hayden, and he said the atmosphere in the ground was absolutely electric. Brilliant atmosphere between India and Pakistan.
How's he enjoying being the batting coach?
At the moment, he's loving it, yeah.
It always helps when you win.
Best coach in the world, mate, he is, at the moment.
Yeah. Here's Josh Hazlewood. Rolling into bowl to Nissanka. Nissanka is solidly forward, playing that defensively up towards mid-off. And there's no run.
I said this the other day too. Josh Hazlewood brought into the T20 side purely because of his form with Chennai Super Kings in the IPL just previous to this tournament. He repaid the selectors' faith in that first game against South Africa and bowled beautifully. And first ball tonight, right on the money, that perfect line length, just angling back into off stump, no run.
Yeah, good start from Hazelwood. Played for Chennai, who won the IPL. Hazelwood goes in now, bowls to Nissanka. Nissanka turns it off his hip to Marsh at square leg. Marsh gathers it in this time, and there is no run. That looked like a ball to score off that to Nissanka, but it hit straight to the fielder. He rather missed out. Hazelwood only losing his line a fraction. And there's a decent save from Marsh away to his right-hand side. Wasn't perfectly timed. And Aaron Finch appreciating the fielding after a couple of misfields so far. 6 for no wicket, second over. Hazelwood into bowl to Nissanka. Nissanka opens the face fractionally there, runs it away into the offside, straight to Smith at backward point. And there is no run.
It's just quality bowling, isn't it? Just test match length bowling, line bowling from Hazelwood. He doesn't do much with the ball. He just relentless with that line of length at real good pace. Mind you, it does help when you're 6'6", coming from that height. Very difficult against the shorter players from Sri Lanka. So doing the basics work in this game as well.
Yeah, quality bowler who will cause England some problems if he stays fit during the winter. Finch is in there at slip next to Wade. And Nissanka's on 2, Perera on 3. Hazelwood bowls and shoveled into the leg side by Nissanka. They're off for a quick single flick at the stumps, misses, a bit high actually. It's Cummins coming in there from mid-on, flick towards the stumps, and it missed them. Good running, and they've been quite positive in their running so far. He's sort of dropped that into the onside. Great to see your fast bowler, isn't it? Diving forward and flicking that towards the stumps.
He's fast, isn't he? Little Nissanka. He gets between the wickets at a rate of knots.
And Kusal Perera is on strike. 11-0, 33 not out and 1 so far. So 3 low scores and runs against the Netherlands in what was a sort of bizarre game where they're only chasing 40-odd. 7 for no wicket, Perera on 3. Hazelwood goes into bowl to him, he's got to slip in, and Perera forces that away, but again, it's quite a tight line, goes out to Stoinis, fielding at point, and there's no run. He's got a big smile on his face, chewing his gum. What about David Warner? He's been practicing on concrete pitches, I hear.
Well, there's plenty of concrete in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. He wouldn't be able to miss out. So, look, there's talk about his form, but the way he hit the ball the other night, he was only there for a brief time, but the ball flew off his bat.
Yeah, hit 3 fours, didn't he? And then he was caught at backward point.
Yeah.
Perera waits for Hazelwood, and Perera swings this into the leg side, sort of low pull, out towards deep mid-wicket. It's going out towards the boundary, and it has enough on it to go for 4. Trickles into the rope, 2 fielders pursuing it, and that's our first boundary of the match.
Yeah, Kusal Perera, very quick to seize on anything short. This was only, it wasn't that short, only a short back of a length.
Good
really.
shot, wasn't it?
Great shot, little forearm punch, just wide. Well, even off the stickers. Shows you how fast the outfield is. No timing whatsoever, found the gap and fairly raced away across that boundary. But first boundary of the night, Kusal Perera looks like he's starting to find some touch.
It's 11 for no wicket after 2, and Kusal Perera, who's up to 7. Pathum Nissanka, 23 years of age. He played 8 T20 matches. He did briefly appear in England in the summer when they were having all sorts of problems. Sri Lanka, England dominated them. They've regrouped and come back and qualified. I mean, an indignity really for a team with a T20 pedigree like Sri Lanka to have to come through the qualifying stages, but they did that no trouble at all. Very dominant, and if you like, they got their eye in, and then they won their opening game against Bangladesh. That was a good takedown in Sharjah. Chasing 170. Cummins moves in and bowls to Nissanka. Nissanka drives, a flick drive into the onside, straight to Starc, fielding at mid-on, and there's no run.
You like to think those teams playing that mini tournament before this tournament are sort of, got their eye in, got their combinations working really well, and it sort of sets them up well for the Super 12 stage.
Definitely, yeah.
Beats practice playing games of cricket under that pressure.
And the other thing about this tournament as well is that just about every game you play in is a pressure match. It's interesting, I was thinking about this morning actually. A lot of T20 cricket. Here is Cummins bowling to Nissanka. Nissanka swings him away into the leg side, out towards deep mid-wicket. 1, 2 bounces 4. It's a lovely shot. A wristy, lofted on drive. Away out towards deep mid-wicket. Fine stroke. Cummins dispatched. And it's 15 for no wicket. I should just welcome and say hello to our ABC listeners in Australia. It's great to have you with us. I didn't purposely welcome you just as Cummins was dismissed for a boundary, but
I'm starting to wonder now.
I just remembered that you were with us, so it's great to have you with us.
I'm sure there'd be a few up. It's after midnight, but the Aussies get up to watch two flies crawling up a wall, so they'll definitely be glued to this one.
Well, wherever you're listening, it's great to have you with us. 5 Live Sports Extra listeners with us as well in the UK. Here's Cummins going into bowl to Nissanka. Nissanka plays his upper machine to the offside. He might be caught. He's going to be caught at mid-off. He is. David Warner running round. Away to his left, from outside the circle. And when I saw it was Warner, I thought that's out.
Yeah,
Quick across the ground. It's 15 for 1 in the third over. Nissanka out for 7.
A change of field there too from the captain Finch. Brought fine leg up, deep square out to cover off that area. Cummins bowls the same ball. Nissanka trying to go over mid-off. Just gets the outside half of the bat. Spoons a catch to mid-off, and Warner runs about 10-15 yards to his left. Takes it above his head. First wicket.
15 for 1. Cummins, a little punch there. Delighted to get in on the action. Yeah, Nissanka, after that lovely lofted on drive, walks off out for 7. And he walks off as well in a way. It's sort of, it's his body language there, frustrated, sort of holding the middle of his bat, not holding it by the handle as if he's didn't like that. And he's on his way now. Asalanka is out there. Asalanka in at number 3 for Sri Lanka. Mickey Arthur talking about him in the lead up to the game. South Africa, former South African coach, former Australian coach. He's actually former just about everywhere coach, to be honest. Saying, you know, I've looked around all the talent in Sri Lanka and they're none better than this guy here, Charith Asalanka. I really like him, and the other day he was in decent form as well.
He played beautifully the other night, chasing down that total, 80 not out, and he likes the pace. He's got plenty on show tonight.
Yeah, it's a challenge, isn't it? I mean, it's a test attack, really, for Australia. Starc, Hazelwood and Cummins. Cummins goes in to bowl to Asalanka, left-hander, short, swatted away over square leg, and that's gone for 4.
It's a great shot.
Well, it's a wonderful stroke to start off with.
That's fast from Cummins. He's tested the young fella out straight up with a bounce about head high, and Asalanka said thank you very much, helped him over square leg, 4 runs. Beautiful shot, great way to start your innings. Carrying on from the other evening.
Oh, it's a no ball as well. It's a no ball, so that means a free hit. So that's, what, 5 off this delivery. And a chance to belt one over the rope as well and make it 11 off 1 delivery. So Maria Rasmus who's spotted that. Well,
it's a game of millimetres, isn't it? That's not far.
20 for 1 in the third. Free hit, Cummins bowls, full toss, and that's drilled down the ground, out towards the long off boundary. That's gone for 4. So that ball was worth 9. 24 for 1 in the third. Asalanka, 2 legitimate balls, 2 boundaries. Mind you, it helps if one of them's a free hit.
No better way to start your innings than, you know, hitting the first one for 4, getting the second one where you can't get out. That's a low full toss, about ankle high. Gets the elevation, gets a bat through the ball, over mid-off, 2 bounces into the boundary. Pat Cummins under pressure here now.
24 for 1, 2 balls left in the third over. Charith Asalanka, lovely start from him. Cummins looking to do something about it, goes in and bowls to Asalanka. That's a good delivery. It's fractionally across him, right arm over the wicket to the left-hander, just outside the off stump, quite tight line. All he could do was push it away into the offside, and it's picked up in the cover region, and there is no run. Score stays at 24 for 1 in the third over. 5 Live Sports Extra, ABC. Australia against Sri Lanka, both sides with 1 win apiece so far in Group 1. England's group, same group as Bangladesh and South Africa and West Indies. Cummins bowls, and it's cut away down towards deep third, and they're through for a single. Was that in the air? Was it a slower ball from Cummins?
Yeah, Cummins change of pace, just rolling his fingers over at the off cutter.
25 for 1 at the end of the over.
Asalanka getting the upper edge on it, down to third man. Safe shot, no fielders in that area. But what a great start. He showed some real poise and real character. First ball bumper, pull shot 4, second ball free hit, back over mid-off's head for 4. Looks assured, looks like he's carrying on his form from the other evening.
Right, 2 left-handers out there. So Glenn Maxwell is going to bowl. The off-break bowler to the left-hander. Oh, it's a sort of match-up we often see in T20 cricket. Doesn't guarantee anything, of course.
If you bowl really well or bat poorly, it's a great matchup. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And someone's got a bowl and someone's got a bat as well. That's the other thing.
Captains favour this one, ball spinning away from the bat.
Yeah. Here is Maxwell to bowl to Asalanka, and Asalanka heaves him away on the leg side. Out towards the deep mid-wicket boundary and into the blue seats. Wow, magnificent stroke from Asalanka. What a start he's made. He's 15 off 5. Didn't bother to have a look at Maxwell. He said, right, I'm taking this on. And whacked him over deep mid-wicket into the seats there. I think the crowd has built up a bit, but there's still plenty of spare blue out there. And he landed one in the seats.
What a great shot that is. Maxwell off middle stump as well, back of a length. He just front foot down and swung through the line and hit it clean over mid-wicket. Great start again. He is looking confident, the young man.
31 for 1. Maxwell bowls to Asalanka, and Asalanka is nearly caught and bowled there, just propping forward, and the ball went in the air back towards Maxwell, but it dropped short of him. 31 for 1.
No, it's a good challenge this for Maxwell.
Maxwell bowls to Asalanka, a bit flatter this time, swept out towards deep back with square legs, heading out towards the boundary. That's gone for 4 as well. Stoinis can't get round. Running away to his left-hand side. Guided sweep from Asalanka. Wasn't full-blooded. Goes to 19, and Sri Lanka to 35 for 1. It's a fascinating contest, this.
Well, this is the bowler they would have been targeting, a part-time spinner. Maxi can bowl as well as a regulation spinner, but in this team he's a part-time spinner, and they're putting the foot down against him.
Maxwell bowls down the leg side. It's missed by the keeper. It's wides. Can it be stopped on the fine leg boundary? No, it's a 5er. Well, 5 wides. Maxwell drifting down the leg side. Asalanka went to play out. Wade missed it. 5 more runs to Sri Lanka. They're up to 40 for 1. They made a flying start here. We're only halfway through the 4th over.
One thing you can say, the pitch, they have been slow and a bit low. This seems like it is skidding on a bit more than we have seen in the past. But Maxwell's line and length just been rattled by that first ball, as you would do, getting hit in the grandstand.
40 for 1. Maxwell goes in and bowls to Asalanka, who comes forward and pushes into the offside. Attempted diving save at extra cover is unsuccessful. It doesn't allow more runs than 1. There's Warner there who seemed to sort of dive over it. Anyway, scrambled after it, picked it up and kept it down to a single. They would have got 1 in any case. But Asalanka is at 20 off 8 balls. And he's thrown down the challenge here to Australia. Again, another one of these sort of inexperienced players in this Sri Lanka side. Played only 5 T20 internationals. Maxwell goes in and bowls full to the more experienced Kusal Perera. Drives hard into the surface, goes back to the bowler, Maxwell, who bends down and picks up, and there's no run. Asalanka, before the 80 not out against Bangladesh, had some low scores. He's 20 not out at the non-strikers end. Maxwell bowls, and Perera sort of stands up in defence there and plays that into the offside quietly, as if to say, right, we've got enough off that over, I don't need to take too many chances. Well, continue to have a little bit of a look, and let Asalanka have the strike. Maxwell's gone for 16 off the over, with the 5 wides as well. It's 41 for 1 after 4. Asalanka 20 and Perera 7.
Tremendous start to this innings too. The power play is always crucial. We haven't seen big scores in the power play so far in this tournament. Tonight could be a biggie if these two keep going the way they are. 16 off that last over from Maxwell. That's a costly one. And they've gone back to the big gun, Josh Hazlewood, coming in for his second over.
I mean, generally so far it's been reasonably hard work for the batters in this T20 World Cup. It was in
has,
the
yeah.
IPL as well. We haven't seen those huge scores, and batters just been able to play through the line of the ball and smack it everywhere. It's been a contest between bat and ball.
Yep. And it's a test of technique as well. You know, in this game, that people say there's not much technique to it, but when the ball starts doing something, you do need a technique.
Hazelwood goes into Asalanka, and Asalanka shows him due respect there, pushing forward, guiding it away, straight to backward point, and there's no run. Hazelwood up at 88 miles per hour from that delivery. Asalanka, who's taken on Cummins and taken on Maxwell. That first ball not prepared to take on Hazelwood, even though we're moving towards the end of the power play. This is the 5th over. How big was that 6? He hit 86 metres. Well, not the biggest we've seen in this competition so far, but big enough.
And they've got to go over that rope.
Exactly. Hazelwood bowls outside the off stump, driven by Asalanka, stopped on the edge of the circle, and a shot at the stumps that the non-striker's end misses. That was good tight fielding from Australia there. The fielding hasn't been perfect so far. There have been a few fumbles, but that was much better. Asalanka looking for runs towards the edge of the circle. 41 for 1, 2 dot balls at the start of the over. And the 5th over of this Super 12 clash. Hazelwood, this rolling gait up to the stumps now, and bowls to Asalanka, who's beaten. A slower delivery, looks to run it away past the outside edge through to Wade on the second bounce. Yeah, Hazelwood has sort of brought a different sort of perspective to proceedings, first part of the over.
Yeah, it's a calming over from the last couple. They're big overs from the Sri Lankan batters, but yeah, Josh Hazelwood, when he's on fire or when he's in this sort of form, he's very difficult to get away. He always hits the splice of the bat. His line of length is impeccable, and he's plenty quick. Don't worry about that.
Off he goes again to bowl to Asalanka, and again another tight delivery, and Asalanka pushes it away into the offside, into the cover region, and there's no run. If I said to you could only have one, Stuart, of these three, you're only allowed to have one out of Starc, Hazelwood and Cummins, who would you pick?
It'd be Pat Cummins for me, yeah.
Pat Cummins.
All-round ability. He bats, bowls and fields. And having worked with him before, he's an absolute champion of a young man. So, not saying the other two aren't. But
I mean, you want them all, wouldn't you? But,
well, of course you do, but Pat Cummins is X-factor about him.
Hazelwood to Asalanka. Asalanka swings this high in the air, down the ground. He's not got all of it. And it's heading out towards the boundary. 2 fielders are after it. Warner dives, pushes it into the rope. It's gone away for 4. Well, he really committed fielding from Warner, but he was stretching for it, and his first contact pushed the ball into the rope. Right, he tried to grab it and knock it back, but the hand knocked it into the rope. So 4 more to Asalanka. That was rather manufactured there against Hazelwood. The toe ender down the ground. It didn't look as though he was going to get 4, but it bobbled away. And Warner will be frustrated with himself for that.
He's diving forward, isn't he? Trying to bring it back with his left and knocks it forward with his right. Sorry, knocks it forward with his left.
45 for 1, last ball of the over. Guided away by Asalanka down towards deep third, and he takes the bowling as well. So 1 more run to the total. 46 for 1 after 5 overs. Asalanka is 25 not out. He's got the bowling. Kusal Perera, he's playing a bit of a watching brief at the moment at the non-striker's end. He's 7 from 8. A really intriguing start to this game.
Run rate at 9.2. It's one of the best ones we've seen so far this tournament. As we have seen traditionally, the 6th over of every innings, or the last over of the power play, is usually the one that batting sides target, particularly only having lost the 1 wicket. You probably suffer 2, maybe 3 at worst during the power play, but Sri Lanka have only lost 1. I think we can expect some fireworks for this one.
Right, and those fireworks will be described, if they turn up, by Henry Moran.
Oh, I hope they do. You've given it the big build-up now, Simon.
Well, Stuart. He's the guilty man.
Right, then in comes Cummins. It's nudged into the offside from the bat of Asalanka, who moves from one fine performance to another. Charith Asalanka in this Sri Lanka team, who I was just looking through, Stuart, the touring side that came to England in the summer, and we're quite used to a little bit of sort of uncertainty around the Sri Lanka team. But of the 24 that were the touring party, 13 aren't on this tour.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge turnover. Cummins is in. The left-handed Asalanka. He's outside the off stump and flashing the blade at it. Goes through to the gloves of keeper Matthew Wade.
No, it is, and Sri Lanka are going through a rebuild as well. They've had a lot of players withdraw and injured, out of form for whatever reason. They've been missing out, and there's so much talent on the Sri Lankan island. I'm sure they could fill about 2 or 3 teams that do a pretty good job. But this young man Asalanka, I really enjoy watching him. But he really gives it a go.
Cummins is in, and he is giving it a go, whipping the ball into the leg side and tumbling the tall figure of Mitchell Starc, running around from mid-on to pick up. As the ball scooted its way across the outfield, Starc does well, 47 for 1. We're midway through the 6th over. Good start this from Sri Lanka.
Yeah, brilliant. Nice platform for the rest of the team, and they've got some good hitters coming down the order, all the way down to good hitters. Dasun, Shanaka, he can give it a real tap. But great start. Kusal Perera's been really quiet. He's just building. If he gets going now, and 2 left-handers going hard, it could be one of those scores we've seen in the IPL, upwards of 160 plus.
And the pressure would be on Australia. Here comes Cummins again. This familiar, smooth approach around the wicket this time to the left-handed Perera, who spooned it up in the air, but it's going to land safely, and it's getting a head down to the boundary as well. Fortunate. They won't mind. Smiles from those Sri Lanka supporters that are waving the 4 and 6 signs. 4 down to the boundary. Almost over the keeper's head, really, in the end. And the 50 up, 51 for 1.
Yeah. Just a back of a length ball coming back at him, try to smash that over mid-wicket, gets the top edge, flies over the keeper's head, where second slip would have been, and one bounce into the boundary. Doesn't matter for Sri Lanka how they come. They'll want them to keep coming and coming fast.
51 for 1 then. Here comes Cummins around the wicket again. Perera on strike. Just waits on that and works it square of the wicket on the leg side. There'll be at least one more as the bearded figure of Maxwell sprints in. He's such a good fielder and prevents the second run. 52 for 1 is the score. We've got a ball left of the power play. It is Sri Lanka against Australia from Group 2. 1 wicket has fallen so far. That of Nissanka, caught by David Warner off the bowling of Cummins for 7. Since then, it's been going well for Sri Lanka. Here comes Cummins once more to conclude the power play. Once again, just a delicate push into the leg side, rotating the strike. And they'll be pretty satisfied with that over and that power play. 7 from the 6th and 53 for 1 after 6 overs. He's a really good platform.
Oh, unbelievable, yeah. It's a solid start. The first couple of overs, nothing really happening, and then the wicket falls, and you expect a bit of a lull in proceedings. Asalanka's come out and changed the game on its head. 27 off 18, he is. A couple of boundaries, nice 6 off Maxwell. And Perera's just starting to, he hasn't had much of the strike, let's be honest. Build up with it, 5 runs off that last over to himself, so he's starting to get into it as well. 53 after the first power play, only 1 down, at 8.8, they can push that up to, 160, 175 to put Australia under immense pressure, and with their spin bowling lineup, that's what they can do.
I saw one Australian news website saying that they had to be aware of the ambush ahead of the main event on Saturday against England, and in some way, you look at Sri Lanka's record in the last couple of years, it's not been a huge amount to write home about, but they're a dangerous side. Here comes Marcus Stoinis into the attack. All-rounder, bustles in. This is thrashed away over the offside, but now there is protection in the deep. The fielding restrictions having relented, and Glenn Maxwell at deep cover picks up. 54 for 1 is the score.
Yeah, there was big talk about form coming in. Players haven't played a lot of cricket and what have you. That does build into it and what have you, but you're out here, you're representing your country in a world tournament. Form, leave that at the door. You turn up on the day, and however you play is how you play. And if you've got the right attitude and energy, you can perform as well as you can. Sri Lanka, started beautifully today.
Perera on strike, the Stoinis is in again through the offside. This time it goes a little bit straighter, and running around is Steve Smith to pick up. There will be 2 runs on this occasion, though, because it finds enough space. And there's quite a lot of ground for Smith to make up. 56 for 1 is the score. And you only have to look at the West Indies successes of 2012, 2016, and the relative turmoil that has existed around some of those sides going into tournaments in previous editions, and they've just got it going in the right time.
And they always picked a fight just before the tournament started, and they really stood up and wanted to.
Stoinis is in, delicately pushed out towards deep cover, and Maxwell for a single, 57 for 1.
Yeah, they wanted to. They always want to prove people wrong, and that's how they build their character, and they played that beautifully. The last T20 tournament they turned up, their uniform hadn't arrived, so they got quickly shipped one from India to where they were, and it didn't have the right sponsorships on it or whatever it was, and it was almost like a 2 up to the board. We'll show you. You're not respecting us. We're going to go out and win this, and they blitzed everybody. It was amazing to watch.
Here comes Stoinis with Asalanka on strike. It's a full delivery which is thrashed away out towards deep cover. Work to do for the fielder. It will be collected by the busy Glenn Maxwell with 2 further runs taken. 59 for 1 is the score. And you listen to Carlos Brathwaite's been a big part of our team and continue through the tournament. He'll be back with us, and it is almost sort of Hollywood movie stuff the way that tournament played out.
Very much so. And the players get a bad rap from the West Indies. They actually love the game of cricket. They all want to play Test cricket. The superstars in the T20 game probably not so much now, but they've done their time in Test cricket. The young kids coming through, they all want to play Tests.
Stoinis is in, just back of a length, and this time into the leg side. It's clipped past the dive of the fielder at short mid-wicket, and will be 1 further run. 60 for 1 with the ball left of the 7th over. And of course that day it was a double success. The women's side won one of those incredible days.
In India, probably the surfaces are a lot better, particularly Eden Gardens is a great batting wicket in white ball cricket. Slightly different to these tournaments, and that's maybe why the West Indies have been struggling. But no excuses, they are the world champions twice, and there's a reason for that.
Stoinis to conclude his first over. It's very full. It's dug out, and there'll be no runs. So, first dot ball of the over is the final delivery. 60 for 1 is the score after 7. Thank you to Stuart for the time being. Alex Hartley is standing by to take our commentary. World Cup winner in 2017, and a key part of our
standing.
team.
I'm sitting on a chair waiting for my turn.
Did I say standing by?
Yeah, I can stand if you would like.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about it. It's a long day, this, you see. Well, actually, it's not. It's not a double header today, so it's not quite as much work for us today. We're going to see Adam Zampa having a bowl, and we were talking on our way in today. And Zampa's one of those cricketers you love to watch. It's something. There's a sort of energy and fun about the way he bowls.
Yeah, I love watching Zampa bowl, and he's one of those that. Yes, sometimes he's really expensive, but he's a wicket taker and a key bowler for Australia. They need wickets here. Sri Lanka have got off to an absolute flyer. Their power play was fantastic, so they're turning to the leg spin of Adam Zampa to just try and squeeze them a wicket here.
Zampa, whose mullet has taken on a new form. It's gone from the sort of slightly coiffed, delicate affair that we saw in the T20s in the BBL last year to something a little more savage. Here comes Zampa, leg spin, whipped into the leg side, out towards deep mid-wicket for a single. 61 for 1.
I don't know how to describe it other than horrific.
It's not a good look for me, but then,
Each to their own, and that's why Adam Zampa is a brilliant human.
He's been ahead of the curve for quite some time on the fashion stakes. He's in now, tossing it up, and there's a big appeal for LBW. No interest from the umpire, and we hear the question: going too far? That's what they're asking. Is it turning too much? And will they go for the review? Aaron Finch in the 2 baseball caps is just pointing and gesturing, and says eventually, I think, in conference with Matthew Wade, that it isn't worth reviewing. But immediately we see from Zampa the impact and the danger he poses.
Turning too far was the question, and I think Zampa said, yep, I reckon so. Gone for the googly, but I'm not sure.
Zampa in to Perera, plays the reverse sweep straight to the hands of Hazelwood, waiting at short third, and there is no run.
Already putting pressure on the Sri Lankan batters as well.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the ball tracking on that. It looks a better shot actually than it did in real time. We will see. Zampa scoops in again. This is on the leg stump, turned away towards square leg. One run is taken, and the score moves forward, 62 for 1.
The more you look at that replay, at first I thought it was out. My initial thought was that is out.
Well, here we go. Ball tracking tells us, well, it is turning, and it is missing.
Turning too far.
So a good decision from Australia not to review. Zampa works the ball into the leg side, does Asalanka, will get one run. And just 3 from the over so far with the ball left of it, 63 for 1. Because of the fact that teams have the option of reviewing, we often focus on the good decision from the team not to review, rather than the fact that was a brilliant decision from the umpire.
It was a really good decision from the umpire. And what was really interesting to hear actually was Wade's questions.
Perera on strike, final ball of the over. And there will be a quick single clipped up towards wide mid-on. Fielder running in from the deep is Maxwell. And 4 from the over, good from Zampa. Lots of control. And the score after 8 overs, 64 for 1. So going at exactly 8 and over at the moment.
So straight away, Wade picked the googly. And then he said, well, is it turning too far? To which Adam Zampa said, yes, I think that's missing. The more we saw it on the replay, the more it looked out. But as it did pitch and it's missing off stump. So good communication, and that is why I love DRS, because it makes players and teams have these conversations. Well, do you think it's doing too much? And actually you learn so much more about your bowling when DRS is available, because you have to learn to watch your delivery and everything about it. You know, you have to see where it's pitched, if it's going to turn. And during the 100 when we had DRS, it really changed the way I thought about my game and my bowling.
That's really interesting, and helps you as a cricketer, I suppose.
Well, ultimately.
Stoinis coming in once again. Perera on strike, full delivery, push without much timing up towards mid-off, and there is just a single taken. The rate of scoring has just dipped down a little bit. A joke and a smile shared between Perera and Stoinis, who vigorously chews gum, as is his way. .65 for 1 is the Sri Lanka score. What a good start this has been. We're looking at a total perhaps in well excess of 150, which would be a really good score for Sri Lanka in this innings. Marcus Stoinis for Australia looking to try and take a second wicket, but so far Sri Lanka, having been asked to bat first, going along nicely at 65 for 1. And as another delivery goes flying through to the keeper, Alim Dar says that is your 1 for the over. And Stoinis always looks very chilled out, doesn't he?
He does. He's the sort of player that doesn't let much faze him, or doesn't show that things are fazing him.
He could be just, striding down the beach ready for a game of beach cricket. He doesn't, just happy as can be. There's no sense that there's the pressure of a major international tournament. In comes Stoinis once again, arms pumping to bowl to Asalanka. This is thrashed away into the offside and out towards deep cover. And there is a single taken. So 66 for 1 is the score. We're midway through the 9th over. And Sri Lanka, having beaten Bangladesh in their previous match by 5 wickets, well, they are going along again in sort of fashion where if they do get a score of north of 150, it's not going to be easy for Australia.
No, it's really not going to be easy. The team, well, then we've seen 9 games played, 8 games won by the team batting second as well. So the dew comes into play. The bowlers, it's harder for the spinners to grip the ball. Sri Lanka have a lot of good spinners as well.
Stoinis moves in. Perera goes hard at that, through the offside. That's a nice looking shot. There's work to do for Smith, and he can't get there. Gives up the chase. And first boundary in a little while. It's beautifully played. Muscular heave through the offside from Perera. 70 for 1.
Yeah, Stoinis, not quite getting his line right there. Just outside the off stump. He's gone for the cutter. And as he's run his fingers down the side of the ball, his line's just sprayed outside the off stump. And the batter able to slap it through the offside for 4.
Smith wasn't far from it, but it was just hit so firmly. Perera then on 22 as Stoinis is in. This is full, driven away, square on the offside for 4 more. Maxwell can't cut it off. Back-to-back boundaries. And this energy in the Sri Lanka innings has been recovered with back-to-back 4s from the batter Perera.
Well, he's hit that absolutely perfectly. Again, just straying outside the line of off stump. A little bit too wide for Stoinis. But he's waited on that and hit it just underneath his eye line, behind backward point, and a beautiful late drive.
So final ball of the 9th over. Stoinis looking to try and get out of the over without any more damage being done. He's moving in once again. That's a good ball. Right, full by the toes of Perera. He'll get 1 into the leg side and nothing more. So 9 gone, 75 for 1 is the score. Exciting guest on 5 Live Breakfast tomorrow morning, playing in this game.
You're going to have to give me a clue. It could be one of 22 players.
It could be. And I did say playing, so it's not either of the umpires. It is not, I can tell you it is not Lahiru Kumara. It is an Australian player.
Okay, I'm going to go with Wade.
I mean, it's a reasonable guess. The 1 in 11? Yeah, it is. It's Pat Cummins.
That was going to be my second guess.
You're such a liar.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? I was going to go for one of the other batters, but you got Pat Cummins on.
Pat Cummins on 5 Live Breakfast tomorrow morning, so look out for that one.
Is that early? Is that an early start if I wanted to listen to that?
Well, 5 Live Breakfast, let me tell you more in a moment. Here comes Zampa, and reaching forward with sweep out in front of square on the leg side for 1 run at the start of the over. It is 76 for 1. 6 a.m. every morning, which I know that sort of interrupts your run, doesn't it? First thing. That's normally when you're just sort of limbering up for the half marathon.
Yeah, well.
Asalanka on strike. Zampa is in. It's on the pads, played straight down the ground, up towards 5 Live Breakfast. Pat Cummins. 77 for 1 is the score.
I'm normally just heading, for my morning run to the gym.
We've got, I tell you what, Marcus Stoinis, this is exciting.
I took a picture.
Oh, I can see. Here comes Zampa, and again it's full, and it's not perfectly timed as Zampa runs around to his left to pick up with 1 run taken, 78 for 1.
He's created his very own deerstalker cap.
He has. He's got 1 baseball cap pointing forward, the other one backwards in a sort of Australian futuristic Sherlock Holmes kind of look, which is terribly exciting. Here comes Zampa. 3 singles from the over so far. He's been economical in his spell to date. This is hit away and he's got a wicket. Asalanka goes for 35. It went square, it went flat, and Steve Smith had the safe pair of hands to get the big wicket of Asalanka for 35 from 27. Sri Lanka have lost a second wicket. It's 78 for 2 with a couple of balls left of the 10th over.
It's really clever that from Australia. Steve Smith out at the deep square boundary. He's 10 or 15 yards off that boundary rope, waiting for that little top edge. He's gone for the sweep shot. He has got the top edge and it's just spooned outside the ring, gone straight to Steve Smith, who takes a decent catch out there. But as I say, really clever, because had Steve Smith been on the boundary, that would have dropped short.
So Asalanka goes, and it is quite a big boundary out there, so it is all about making those just little decisions that, the default when you're outside the circle, you think, well, I'll stand on the boundary and be out there, but actually being that 5-10 yards in has made all the difference. And
the purpose of when you've got a really big boundary, and as a bowler you say to your fielders, I want you 5 or 10 yards off the boundary, that's to stop the 2. So quite often or not out the power play, especially the spin bowler, so Adam Zampa won't have a mid-wicket in that fielding circle stopping the 1. So you want your fielders off the boundary to stop the Sri Lankans hitting the ball into the onside and just being able to run 2.
Avishka Fernando joins the action. Didn't score in the game against Bangladesh 4 days ago. And so comes to the middle, just with a little bit of vulnerability here for Sri Lanka, because the pressure that comes with a good start and knowing that having got that platform, you really want to push on with it.
Yeah, you don't want the brilliant platform that you've built and the partnerships that you've had just to go to waste. So what Sri Lanka have to do now is build another partnership. They can give themselves, 5-6 balls or so just to get the ball out into the deep, rotate the strike, but they want to carry on with this momentum that they've already built, try and get up and above 150. We've seen the score predictor said it above 170 at the moment. But Australia, they've had a really key passage of play in the last 2 or 3 overs where they've slowed that run rate right down, which created the pressure to bring on that sweep shot that ultimately gets the wicket.
And we've seen that Zampa's introduction has really changed the pace of things from that end. He's yet to concede a boundary. He's got the wicket now in his second over. And that might just tell us a little bit, depending as well. We know second innings bowling has been tougher. Interesting indication on how this surface might be playing.
Yeah, it is. I think now would be a good opportunity as well to bring Glenn Maxwell back into the attack. His first over went for 16. He bowled in the power play, and Sri Lanka got a brilliant start. So they were trying to maximise their power play, in which they did. They got 53 after the power play. But now, with a fresh batter at the crease, would be a really good time to bring in another spinner.
So Avishka Fernando, 23 years old, comes to the middle. There was a huge contingent of Fernandos that were part of the tour to England earlier on in the year. There was 5 different Fernandos. Here comes Zampa bowling, and it's defended by the right-handed Avishka. Back up the track, and there is no run.
I like the name Fernando. It's an island, isn't it, where people go on holiday?
No, it's not an island where people go on holiday, Alex. Here comes Zampa. Finch waits at slip. This is played firmly up towards wide long on for a single. And Avishka is up and running. We'll keep the strike. 79 for 2 after 10 overs. Simon's Googling the Isle of Fernando.
It's from a popular show.
Well, let's just say, if you're imagining Simon Mann on the Isle of Fernando, that is a joyous image. I'm getting out of the way. And I'll just turn on this light, and if you see no likey, Simon, on this box, just to warn you.
79 for 2 after 10 overs. Well, Fernando de Noronha is an archipelago in the Atlantic Ocean.
See?
But I bet you didn't know that.
No, I didn't. I had no clue.
Right. Shall we bring some sanity to this broadcast? You don't have to if you don't want to.
No, yeah, let's do.
Right, it's going to be Starc back into the attack. It's 79 for 2, halfway. So they took the drinks break, actually, when that wicket fell. It's good from the umpires. Just use that opportunity to not waste time, basically. So Avishka's on 1, Perera's on 29. And here is Mitchell Starc, back for his second over. No wicket for 6 so far. Goes in and bowls to Avishka, opens the face, runs it away down towards deep third. Trots through for a single. 80 for 2, Sri Lanka. Start of the 11th over. I was going to make a point earlier, actually, about T20 cricket in general, and I think then the wicket distracted us. But it is this, that in lots of tournaments around the world, not every match matters. But in this tournament, it feels as if every match matters. And I think that gives it a greater intensity and a greater focus as well. You can drop, IPL, whatever, 100, CPL, Big Bash, you can drop games. And you don't want to, but you can drop games and still win, still qualify. If you drop too many in this, I mean, we don't know yet, actually, how many you can lose and still qualify. It might be you can drop 2 games in your group. It might be only 1.
That's where I think if you drop 2 games in your group, net run rate really will come into it, moving further along in the tournament. But that's the beauty of World Cups, isn't it? Every game matters. There's something on every single game that you play.
Starc bowls to Perera, and Perera swings him away into the onside, high into the night sky, out towards the wide long on boundary and over it. Into the second tier. Alim Dar raises his arms, almost as if he's celebrating that shot. That was a wonderful blow from Kusal Perera. Takes him to 35, and the crowd has built up, and it's mainly a crowd supporting Sri Lanka, and they absolutely love that. It was a length ball that Perera heaved it away. Magnificent blow. Just went up into the floodlights and then dropped down into that second tier. A wonderful shot. That's got them going. And even his teammates are off their seats as well. You often see that. They're all sort of smiling, clapping and cheering, almost like supporters. 86 for 2 in the 11th over. What's Starc's response going to be? It's a brilliant ball. It's a Yorker. He's bowled him. He's got through against Perera. Wow, that's thrilling cricket. Huge heave for 6. And then Starc's bowled a really quick Yorker, 89 miles an hour. And Sri Lanka are 86 for 3 in the 11th, and Perera's innings ends at 35 from 25.
A brilliant comeback that from Starc. He's just been absolutely clubbed for one of the biggest sixes that we've seen in this tournament into the second tier. Well, his delivery that got hit into the stand was a pace-off delivery. This one, he's gone pace-on, executed his Yorker perfectly. It's gone between Perera's front foot and his bat, and it clatters into middle and leg stump, and the perfect comeback when you've just been hit for 6.
I feel as if I've seen that start delivery somewhere before. I mean, it's his trademark. He got that absolutely right. Great comeback. Go on, hit that for 6. And Perera is on his way. Gets a pat on the back for a couple of his colleagues, but he'll be frustrated after. Well, he gave himself some time as well today. It wasn't all just wham bam out there. He was hitting judiciously. We have seen him, really attack from the start before and perish as a result, which is, a perfectly reasonable way to play in T20s. All about 4s and 6s, and the team that hits the most 4s and 6s generally wins. But not today. A bit more studied, although ultimately 35 from 25. Now, Bhanuka Rajapaksa is out there at number 5 for Sri Lanka. Another left-hander. And Starc moves in to bowl to him. He's in his second over, goes in now to bowl to Rajapaksa. It's another full delivery, not quite Yorker length, just back a fraction from that. And Rajapaksa drives, hits it up to a straight long on, drops his bat when he makes his ground. David Warner picks up and then does some press-ups. The last time I saw someone do some press-ups on the field was Misbah-ul Haq after making 100 at Lords. And he celebrated by doing some press-ups.
Now that was extraordinary.
I don't think went down very well with the England team, but actually it was a tribute to the army who'd been training the Pakistan side, getting them fit before they went there. Anyway, not quite sure what Warner was doing there.
I think he's pulled out a full-length dive, winded himself, and just thought he'd just do a bit of a press-up to get himself back up onto his feet.
87 for 3. Avishka faces Starc. Starc was a short ball. He gets in a real tangle there, Avishka. Somehow knocks it into the leg side. It's one of those, if we're in a test match, and Starc might be trying that again pretty soon, because he didn't play that very convincingly. 88 for 3. They got a single. Not quite sure what it came off. Is it off the glove? It might well have been off the glove. Anyway, it surprised him. That short ball into the shoulder, sort of head area, neck area. Good delivery. So Sri Lanka have lost the wickets of Perera for 35, Asalanka for 35, and Nissanka for 7. One for Cummins, one for Starc, one for Zampa. And here is Starc. And to bowl a very full delivery and then Yorker length to the new man, Avishka Fernando, who dug it out. Avishka's face there tells a story. He's like, oh, yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, very good. Excellent from Starc. 11 overs gone, 86 for 3.
Well, Starc went for that length ball and got pumped over his head for 6. So his next ones, he's gone for the Yorkers or the short delivery. He's not gone for anything in between. But a real key passage of play for both teams now. You've got 2 new batters at the crease, which is, not ideal for Sri Lanka, but they've built this brilliant platform. The run rate up at 8 per over. They're 88 for 3 after 11 overs.
I mean, from a neutral perspective, it looks as if Sri Lanka can get a decent score, which will make it a really intriguing game, which is what we want. There have been a few quite one-sided games so far, a few games decided well within the distance. it would be great to have a really tight game, although Australia, of course, and South Africa was a very tight game. Here is Zampa bowling his third over. He's been good so far, Zampa. 1 for 8 from 2. Avishka comes down the pitch, and I think he thought initially there about trying to smash that and then blocked it at the last moment. Now, just on Zampa's haircut, I reckon that if he didn't have what he had before, we wouldn't look at Zampa and say that looks outrageous. It's just the contrast between what it was like before and what it's like now. Look, it's a little bit of a mullet. It's a little bit, isn't it?
He's growing the mullet, isn't he? That's
is he
what
growing
he's going
it, is
for.
he? Oh,
It's got to
okay.
be.
Right. Here is Zampa into bowl to Avishka. Avishka turns it into the onside. Looking for 2 to the edge of the circle. Now they decide against it. Stoinis is in, whipping in the return. So just 1. 89 for 3. Why is the mullet coming back?
I don't know, but you know what? The more I see it, the more I quite like it. Sam Hain had a mullet in the 100, and we constantly took the mick out of him. But towards the end, it suited him. The more we saw it, the more it suits him.
I'll need a bit more evidence to convince me, I think, of that.
It's you next, Simon, isn't it?
I don't think that's going to happen. that would be my best guess, anyway. Zampa bowls, big drive from Rajapaksa, misses it. Through to Wade, takes off the bails. And Wade, what's he thinking there? Is he thinking about the appeal to the square leg umpire for stumping? I don't think there was any chance that the back foot looked. Yeah, I think there was a slight movement in the back foot, but it was down from Rajapaksa. Zampa there sensing his second wicket. He's in his third over. He's only gone for 9 so far. Alim Dar's come in from square leg to rearrange the furniture. Got the bails back on. 89 for 3. Rajapaksa on 1. Avishka on 4. Zampa holding sway at the moment. Right arm over the wicket. Into bowl to the left-hander. Outside the off stump. Guided away delicately down towards a fine short third. And they get a single. Feels actually as though you shouldn't get one there because it was placed straight to the fielder, but it just ran through and there was no pressure on the ball.
It's always the worst fielders at short fine and short third as well. I can say that because I'm the one that fields that. And they always run one to you, no matter where you stand or how close you are, they always manage to sneak
It's horrible,
one.
isn't it?
It's the worst.
Persecution out there is really it's so unfair. Sometimes you see it with the older fielders as well. Right, Avishka Fernando's gone high and he's going to be caught. He is at short extra cover. He went for the big shot against Zampa, and Steve Smith in there close in on the offside took the catch, waited for it to come down from the night sky, and Avishka Fernando's on his way, and Zampa's picked up 2 and he's bowled really well, which might encourage the 2 Sri Lanka spinners, but he has been excellent, Zampa, and they haven't been able to get after him. And Avishka tried, and early in the over, he looked as if he was going to come down the pitch and belt him, and in the end just checked the shot, and this time he did go for it, and he completely miscued it. And a straightforward catch for Steve Smith.
Zampa's bowled absolutely beautifully in this over. He's bowled 50% googlies, 50% leg breaks, and just put pressure on the Sri Lanka batters. And Fernando, they're going for the huge almighty sweep shot, but it just wasn't there. It was slightly too full, slightly over pitched. That top edge, the ball going straight up in the air, and Steve Smith taking one of the more simple catches that he will get in his career.
Hasaranga is in at number 6. And he can be a very effective hitter down the order. Wanindu Hasaranga, and he might look at Zampa and think, I could cause some problems later on with the ball, as long as it doesn't become soaking wet.
I think that's what will give Sri Lanka a bit of confidence, knowing that if they can get up around that 145, 150, they have the spinners to bowl on this pitch. Zampa's getting turn with his leg break and with his googly, so it's going to be encouraging for the Sri Lankans.
Slipping now, Rajapaksa on strike, the batter's cross while the ball was in the air, and he pushes forward at the first ball and misses it. Well, it's excellent from Zampa, it really is. 3 overs, 2 for 10, and Sri Lanka are 90 for 4 after 12 overs. Australia dragging it back a bit here, thanks to Adam Zampa.
Just having a little chat to the Sri Lankan batters there with a smile on his face. Don't know if he's just telling them it's turning both ways, be careful.
And then Hasaranga saying, don't worry, I'll be bowling to you later.
Yeah.
And they've got Theekshana in the side tonight as well, which is a boost for Sri Lanka. He was unfit for the last game. He's back in, so they've got 2 frontline spinners. They've got a bit of pace about their attack as well, Sri Lanka. They've got some 90-mile-an-hour bowlers. They've got in their lineup, they've got Dushmantha, Chameera and Karunaratne, and Lahiru, Kumara as well, Dasun, Shanaka, and then Hasaranga and Theekshana to bowl spin. So 90 for 4 after 12. Starc is going to bowl his third over, 1 for 15. Produced that thrilling Yorker to get rid of Kusal Perera. It's been working well for him of late. He goes in now and loses his run up. Just to jog back. How are we in terms of over rate? 12 in the first hour. It's pretty standard these days for T20 cricket.
It is indeed. Over the last 3 overs as well, there's only been 15 runs come off it and 3 wickets for Australia.
Yeah, thanks to Zampa, I think you're just making it hard for Sri Lanka. Starc goes in, bowls to Hasaranga, right-hander, edges for 4. Well, it was foolish outside the off stump. He went for the drive on the up. There's a short third in, gully region. It went between him and the wicket-keeper off a thickish edge. It would have been a straightforward catch in a test match to a third slip fielder, but it's gone for 4.
It has. It's one of those, if you're going to nick it, make sure you nick it fine enough for it to go for 4. And the Sri Lankans, they won't mind how they come. That's 4 more to their total.
Yeah, there's Finch there in the gully, or sort of 4th, 5th slip, something like that. Just sensing that opportunity with Starc bowling to Hasaranga. He's got a bit closer to the wicketkeeper now. Starc bowls and a wafty drive and an appeal and out. Hasaranga's gone for 4. He's only lasted 2 balls. He went for another drive, and this time he thin-edged it through to Matthew Wade, and Australia are striking back, although they are just... Are they reviewing this? They are. So he doesn't think he's hit it. Doesn't think he's hit it.
We have a players review for...
Well, I've already written in my notebook that he's out, because I just thought he's absolutely nailed that.
Can we start with spin vision, please?
You might have to get the Tipex
I
out.
might have to. You always know as a batter, or at least you think you know if you've nicked it or not.
Here we go. There's a sound,
There's a
wasn't
sound
there?
there as well.
Can we have Ultra Edge, please?
Maria Rasmus's voice, third umpire tonight, TV umpire. Here we go, here's the Ultra Edge, and yes.
I think you have a spiked. And the ball's next to the bat. I'll go back to Alim.
He must have known he's hit that. That's really bizarre.
Alim, you're on
Maybe
screen
he's
now. You can signal. Well done.
hoping Ultra Edge hasn't seen it. Who knows?
Well, the weird thing about that was that Wade barely appealed. He just, oh, that's out. Just, yeah, thanks very much. We'll have another one. And Alim Dar, finger straight up. And Hasaranga not having any of it. And then we see the... I mean, as soon as we saw the replay, you actually heard the nick. And then they showed the spike on Ultra Edge subsequently. But you can hear the nick. Anyway, Hasaranga's on his way for 4. 1 thick edge, 1 fine edge. And now he'll have to think about his bowling. 94 for 5, but Australia striking back.
They are indeed. We were saying it was going to be a key passage of play for both teams. Sri Lanka have built this fantastic platform in the power play, but they've just lost their way in the last 3.5 overs, losing 4 wickets. And that is where this game is changing. It's now going in the favour of Australia. Sri Lanka 94 for 5. And Australia, well, they've come back absolutely brilliantly by just applying pressure, bowling stump to stump. Adam Zampa spinning the ball both ways.
Dasun Shanaka, Sri Lanka's captain, is out there at number 7. Starc goes in and bowls to him with a slip in, and Shanaka props forward and plays it defensively back to the bowler, and there's no run. Shanaka's not the worst, coming in at number 7, the skipper. You need something from him here if Sri Lanka not to fritter away a good start.
They really need these 2 batters to still be there in the 16th, 17th over. Try and build one of these partnerships back up.
Shanaka tapping away at the crease. Australia with a slip and a gully in now. Starc bowls to Shanaka. It's full, it's driven into the offside. It's very well stopped. That extra cover, nearly a run out as well. Mitch Marsh there, hurled the ball at the stumps, but missed it, missed the stumps. That was good from Australia. It was well played by Shanaka, driving through the offside. And Marsh brilliantly hauling that in away to his right-hand side, threw the ball at the stumps, and if he'd hit, I think Shanaka would have been out. Shanaka went back to dive back into his ground. Marsh actually was frustrated. I mean, that really would have capped it off. He hit the stumps there as well after a wonderful piece of fielding. The ball was almost past him. Shanaka yet to score. Starc bowls. Oh, and he gets in a real tangle to a ball that's short of a length. Plays it uppishly away into the offside. Marsh comes in and picks up again, and there's no run. And Starc here is, well, after being, it's a hit for 4. He was edged for 4 first ball. He's bowling a really tidy over. 94 for 5. 1 ball left of the 13th over. Sri Lanka at one stage were 78 for 1. So 4 quick wickets. Australia asserting themselves in this match. Shanaka waits. Starc goes in. Bowls to him now. Flicked away by Shanaka through forward square leg. It'll only be a single. Out towards Maxwell, who whips in the return and sort of low whip return to Wade, and that's the end of the over. Starc 3 overs, 2 for 20. Sri Lanka 95 for 5 with 7 overs left of their innings. Shanaka on 1 and Rajapaksa on 2. The 2 batters having a chat in the middle of the pitch, and just something to reassess here.
They are indeed. I was just looking at Glenn Maxwell then on the replay, and I reckon that's the first time he's smiled since he bowled his first over that went for 16. You can always tell when he's furious because he fizzes the ball in from the boundary to the keeper, and then he's just taken a little bit off it now, so I reckon he's got over it.
Last 4 overs, 20 runs, 4 wickets. It just shows how much Australia have dominated in this middle period. And Zampa is looking for more. He's taken 2 for 10. He's got a slip in. And he's bowling to Dasun Shanaka, Sri Lanka's captain. Quite an open stance. Zampa bowls full, driven firmly back. Rather missed out there, Shanaka. Hit it straight back to the bowler who fielded. Hit it hard, but too close to Zampa. That's Matthew Wade and Feck's microphone, just trying to put some doubt in Shanaka's mind. Zampa bowls, and is dragged by Shanaka back to the bowler.
Got away with that one there,
He did.
Zampa.
Yeah, it was a bit wide, wasn't it? And a fraction short. Shanaka hit it hard back to the bowler. He's turning again to bowl to Shanaka, and Shanaka brushes this into the onside. That stopped a mid-wicket. This is good from Australia. Pressure cricket. Stoinis away to his left, stops it. No run.
Love the way he's got Zampa's cap on backwards on top of his head.
Zampa totters this one up, and a huge heave from Shanaka. Misses it through to Wade. Well, he's trying his best here, Shanaka, but it's not coming off.
I think he's just struggling to pick Zampa as well, and what bowl he's delivering. He's getting the ball up and above the batter's eye line, really trying to fizz it into the pitch to get as much turn out of the wicket as he can.
95 for 5, 4 dot balls in this over from Zampa. Goes in now to bowl to Shanaka, and Shanaka clips that into the onside. There's a big gap on the onside. Everyone's out basically in front of square. Almost just need to get some bat on it, and he did finally. After playing 1 or 2 big shots, almost trying to hit it too hard, he just thought, I'll take the single. Zampa's nearly finished. Well, no point getting out to him. He's bowled so well. He really has. But that will give some encouragement to Sri Lanka's spinners. 2 for 11. Last ball of Zampa's spell. Into bowl to the left-handed Rajapaksa. It's full, and Rajapaksa dead bats it really past the bowler for a single. Again, I think both batters saying there, yeah, we're just going to get out of Zampa's spell, finish him off, and have a look at the others. 4 overs, 2 for 12 from Zampa. Shanaka 2, Rajapaksa 3. At the moment, Sri Lanka going nowhere. 97 for 5 after 14 overs. Maxwell comes over to congratulate Zampa on his spell. And he's done a Chris Wokes. He's conceded only 12 runs from 4 overs, as Wokes did yesterday against Bangladesh.
He's bowled brilliantly, and when Adam Zampa came on to bowl, that's when things started to go wrong for Sri Lanka, because Zampa's didn't get a wicket in his first over, but he created so much pressure. I think he only went for 4. Therefore, you then have to try something in the next over or when he comes back on. And it's just created that little collapse for Sri Lanka as the pressure has kept building for them.
What are they looking at now then? 97 for 5, only 6 overs left. 150 looks too far away, I would say, from here. And if they went really well, they could get there. 6 overs, 40 runs. 45 runs, something like that.
135, 140.
Yeah. Score predictor says 147. It's just popped up onto our screens. I think they might take that now, actually. 147.
Do you reckon there should be like a checkout so you can go, yep, we'll have that score, thank you.
Here's Hazelwood bowling, slapped away into the onside by Rajapaksa, but straight to mid-wicket and there's no run, picked up by Marsh. Yeah, I think they would check out at 147.
100% right now, yeah.
Stuart Law's with us now.
It's been an absolute turnaround. When Asalanka and Perera were going, you'd think 160, 170 was the score, but I think Sri Lanka now would take 135, to be honest.
Yeah, that 147 looks a bit optimistic on the score predictor, but we'll see. Hazelwood into bowl to Rajapaksa with him now, and it's flicked away off his hip down towards a deep back with square leg. Should pick up 2 here. Zampa is onto it, sending the return in on the bounce to Wade. And Sri Lanka advanced to 99 for 5 in this 15th over. Rajapaksa on his way to 5.
I think too, if I was Aaron Finch now, I wouldn't be bowling Glenn Maxwell for another over. It'd be pace on for the remaining, 5.4 overs. So
let's have a look at the options for Aaron Finch. Hazelwood bowls full, drilled into the offside. It's a good-looking shot. It's gone for 4.
shot.
Yeah, the cover boundary fielder is in off the rope, and it just beat him to his left. Just kept going away from it. That's excellent from Rajapaksa. So he goes to 9. Sri Lanka's 100 is up. 103 for 5 in this 15th over. So Cummins has got 2 overs left. Starc has got 1, and Hazelwood has got 1. So they need to find a 1 from someone else. Presumably Stoinis, because he's only bowled 2 so far.
Yeah, Stoinis and Mitch Marsh can both bowl.
And
So
there's Marsh as well, yeah. Here's Hazelwood to Rajapaksa, short, and Rajapaksa gets into a tangle, goes uppishly into the onside towards short fine. Wade comes across, hurls the ball at the stumps at the striker's end. I think that was off the body or the thigh pad rather than the glove. Anyway, they got through for a single. Wade couldn't get round to collect it.
yeah, the ball before was a slower ball outside off stump. Just gave Rajapaksa a bit of room. He absolutely smashed it through through the covers. 4 runs, and that one then back to traditional Hazelwood length, back of a length bouncer, and Rajapaksa in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, it was a good ball. There's been some bounce for the Australian bowlers tonight. I mentioned that the Sri Lanka bowling lineup's got some pace about it. Perhaps the Australia batters might not mind that too much. That's the thing. Hazelwood to Shanaka. Hazelwood bowls now. Shanaka guides it away with an open face, but straight to backward point. Can't get a run there. 104 for 5 with 1 ball left of the 15th.
Yeah, and saw the graphic before. Lahiru Kumara, who Sri Lankan opening bowler, he's bowled the fastest ball out of anyone on the field tonight. So they've got pace, yeah, definitely. Chameera's pretty tall.
Yeah.
The rest of them are a bit small. They don't get a lot of bounce, but they've definitely got a lot of pace, a lot of skill. So it'd be a good test for the Australians. Sri Lanka just need to get up to that 130, 135, I reckon, now, and put some pressure on them.
Hazelwood bowls to Shanaka. Shanaka clips that away off his pads, backward a square. Will only be a single. Maxwell's out there, and they jog through for the run. And Wade knocks the bails off his foot as he collects that. 105 for 5 after 15 overs. Shanaka has 3, Rajapaksa 10. Sri Lanka with 5 overs to do some more damage here and just get up to a potentially defendable score. Australia struggled, but different ground, of course, different opponents to get past Sri Lanka at the weekend. It's getting up to their winning target in the final over. Can Sri Lanka produce something defendable? We'll see. 5 more overs to go. Here's Henry Moran.
Yeah, and you'd like to think, we mentioned before that this game's massive. You'd like to think that the team winning this one, with England still to play, England look like the form team in this group. If they can just go through unscathed with these games and do their best against the better team in England, it sets them up pretty well for a semi-final berth. Pat Cummins back into the attack now.
2 overs left for Cummins as he runs in right arm over to Shanaka. On his toes, clipping the ball into the leg side. And Cummins just dropping that pace down to little over 70 miles an hour, and Shanaka unable to do anything with it. He's 3 from 12. It's that stodgy sort of innings that can really slow a team's momentum down, and when you're 5 wickets down, you don't quite have the freedom to just start swinging and hoping that you can either hit out or get out. And so there is just a little bit of a sense that, does he stick or twist here? Cummins is in. This is hit in the air. Well, he's gone for it. It's gone over the offside. Fielder running round, can't get there. It's going to drop safely. Mitchell Starc runs past the ball and then has to turn on his heel as he sees it plugged just a little bit. And there is a little sign of aggression from Dasun Shanaka. 2 runs.
It's the way he plays. If it's up, it's off. He gets some good bat speed going there. Just didn't quite get the middle of the bat, but enough to get it away from mid-off running back Mitch Starc. 2 runs, 2 valuable runs, but a good sign of intent from Shanaka. He needs more intent to get this momentum going in his innings.
Sri Lanka skipper waits. 107 for 5. We're into the 16th over as in comes Cummins. This is wide. Hit away out towards Maxwell. Square of the wicket on the offside. 1 run added. 108 for 5. It feels disappointing this for Sri Lanka given where they were after the first 6 overs.
And I think that spell, Alex brought it up before. Adam Zampa came into the attack. Little bit of spin both ways. Not much, but a little bit. Created some real problems. They weren't able to pick him. He bowls that cross seam delivery, which is a scrambled seam when it comes out. Very difficult to pick with a white ball, particularly when there's dirt on the ball now. But he bowled beautifully. 12 off his 4 overs with the 2 wickets, 2 crucial wickets as well.
Rajapaksa is on strike. Left-hander. He's on 10 from 10 as Cummins is in. And looking to try and help the ball on its way over the keeper's head. It goes through to the gloves of Wade and is a dot ball. One of the more abrasive characters behind the stumps, is that fair to say, Matthew Wade?
He's definitely not short of a word, Matty. Tremendous competitor. That's one thing. You get confused with, sledging and whatever. He's just encouraging his teammates. He might say the odd thing, but there's no personal, no malice in it. He's just out there doing what he does.
In comes Cummins. And this time the ball is played off the face of the bat. Once more pace taken off it, run down towards deep third, and there is a single taken. So the score 109 for 5. A ball left at the 16th over, and the game is more entertaining for the presence of characters. And you need them in the game.
You do. It's a fine line. The way that the laws of the game and the way that we police the game now, you're sort of stopping the character come through. And if players like Merv Hughes and Darren Gough played in series today, they wouldn't play. they'd be banned within 5 minutes. So it is a shame, but Matty Wade is definitely a character. As I said before, a fierce competitor, but also just one hell of a good team there.
Cummins in to bowl the final ball of the over. Once again, this tennis ball bounce as the pace taken right off it, but it is too short, and as it looped over the head of Shanaka, little glance at the square leg umpire, and he does get what he wants, the batter, and that is a wide signalled 110 for 5.
No, fair enough. That's Paddy Cummins just getting it too short, and that's gone at least 2 foot over Dasun Shanaka's head. So fair call from the umpires. You got to feel for the umpires. It's a tough job, and to get them right, it's very difficult.
This is outside the off stump, whacked away into the leg side, out towards Warner, sprinting in from deep mid-wicket. Just 1 run taken. 111 for 5. 16 overs gone. What score here, Stuart? We'll see Australia nervous during the interval.
With the amount of turn on the pitch, it depends on how much dew does come down. We talk a lot about the dew. And it does play a part in the second half of an innings, but if they can keep the ball dry, keep their fingers dry, there's enough in this pitch, I think. So I said before, 135. There's a bit of a lull at the moment, but 4 overs left. Rajapaksa starting to get in, face 12 balls. Shanaka's face 15. They're starting to get an idea of what's going on. They know what's coming now with the Australian bowlers. It's going to be pace. They can pin their ears back, I reckon, give 1 more over of not doing much, although they may Marcus Stoinis is lining up the bowl now, they may target Marcus Stoinis, having gone for 18 in his 2 overs. So I reckon 135, 140, Australia would think, OK, we really need to bat well to get these. They struggled the other day against South Africa, chasing 120 odd. 135, I'm banking on a bit of a tight finish.
Stoinis is in on the pads, worked away by Shanaka towards deep mid-wicket and Maxwell. 112 for 5. And there's overs left. Stoinis has a couple more, including this. One apiece for the 3 fast bowlers, Starc, Hazlewood and Cummins. And then also Glenn Maxwell has overs left, but he went for 16 in the solitary offering from him. So I think we're maybe less likely to see anything from...
Yeah, cue on the rack for Maxi tonight. Thanks very much, mate, but no thanks.
They are fortunate to have the bowling reserves they do, Australia. That, I mean, we've seen from what Zampa offered, it completely changed the,
yeah, correct,
the way this game's gone. Rajapaksa is on strike. As Stoinis moves in once again. Past the umpire. It's a full toss, which is whacked away into the leg side, and he's played it so well because he lost his footing, and as he worked it behind square, somehow got enough on it to find the gap and find 4 runs. 116 for 5.
Yeah, both fine leg and square leg up in the circle. Stoinis looking for a wideish Yorker. Rajapaksa moves across the outside off stump, slips on his heel as he's playing the shot, but manages, finds the middle of the bat and the gap, 4 runs.
Almost ended up doing the splits as he played the shot. And a big smile as he punched gloves with Dasun Shanaka. Valuable runs early in the over. 116 for 5. Rajapaksa on strike. He's gone hard into the leg side again. Almost takes out the umpire at square leg for 4 more.
Yeah, they've targeted Marcus Stoinis now. The medium pacer, part-time. Well, he's a bit more than a part-time, but in this attack he's the part-time seamer, and quite smart batting from the Sri Lankans. You don't target the best bowler, you target the one who's making up the overs.
It was hit viciously. Square of the wicket and ducking out of the way. And it's quite sharp work at square leg because that was travelling, and being an umpire is not a safe business in this day and age. This is hit down the ground in the air. Has it got the distance for 6 runs? It's gone high. How far? For 6.
It's a great shot. 2 great shots. The 1-2 punch. First the short ball pulled over square leg for 4, and then that one pitched up a bit further and smashed back over his head. Great batting from the young man. He finished the game off well the other night too. Rajapaksa is in good form and waited his time and now making his march.
Yeah, 53 in the last game from 31 balls, including 3 sixes, so he does come into the game in form. And what's lovely to see is we've seen so many images of Mickey Arthur looking rather disgruntled in recent times, standing in the dugout, hands on hips, shaking his head. It's quite nice to see him smiling. He seems like he's having a lovely time.
Yeah, he wears his heart on his sleeve, Big Mick. He's a great man, good coach. I've worked under him before with Australia, and he's had his time in Sri Lanka where it's been difficult, but he's enjoying it now.
126 for 5. That's wide outside the off stump, and Matthew Wade applauds. A little glance up from Rajapaksa, who says to Aleem Dar, well, is that wide? Too wide?
Borderline. He did give himself a bit of room, moved away from leg stump, but give the benefit of the doubt to the bowler just inside that wide line. Remember, it's only a guide. It's not an actual line that we have to rule on. It's only a guide.
Is that right?
That is, yeah.
Okay, so when we sort of sit there analysing and say, well, that was a millimetre outside, that's...
It's just a guide for the umpire.
Stoinis is in, advancing down the track. Rajapaksa is defeated by a slow ball bouncer, but it is signalled wide, much to the joy of Sri Lanka's support staff and supporters around the ground. Frustration for Stoinis, who thought he'd got out of the over with a dot ball, but it will have to be bowled again with a score at 127 for 5.
Yeah, that's what you talk about with bowlers in this situation. Your first ball and last ball are very important. Try to get out of it. That's gone 2 feet over Rajapaksa's head.
Stoinis in, outside the off stump. He's got bat on it and managed to find a gap into the offside, but not enough of a gap for a boundary. Steve Smith will get there to prevent the second run as well. So a very profitable over for Sri Lanka. We've seen 3 boundaries in it. And 13 runs coming. 17 overs gone, then 128 for 5. Every over that goes by, the gentleman on the PA seems to be ramping up his enthusiasm. I'm not sure I'd like to live with this guy, necessarily.
My word, yeah, he's doing a good job, let's face it. There's not many people in there, but the other night, I mentioned before, against India-Pakistan, that game, you didn't hear a word from him. You couldn't over the other noise, but tonight he's quite prominent.
He is. And he's giving it a good go. But you can imagine if he sort of called upstairs to ask if you wanted a cup of tea. It could be quite... you might just calm down. 128 for 5 is the score. 17 overs gone. We're going to see Pat Cummins bowl his final over. He's taken 1 wicket, the first wicket of the innings to fall. And he is bowling with 4 fiddlers out on the leg side. Just that deep cover in the off. 128 for 5. The score then. 3 overs remain. Score predictor leaps to 158. Cummins is in. It goes down the leg side. It'll be a wide. That was very, very wide because he took a step to the leg side to give himself some room. Cummins tried to follow him. And in doing so, got his line all wrong. 129 for 5.
Yeah, Australia now don't need to go too funky, I don't think. Just stick to what they're good at. Bowl the best ball. Hard length at the stumps. I think it was going to be difficult to hit, particularly at this pace and bounce.
Rajapaksa on strike. Helps that ball around the corner, but there is protection in the form of Josh Hazlewood at fine leg, so it won't be a boundary. Just the 1 run. 130 for 5. They're already... You spoke about 135, 5 minutes ago. They're pushing that already, and we've got close to 3 overs left.
Yeah, that last over of Stoinis really catapulted them forward, which is what they want. They need from here. You know, they're saying 147. They're saying that the score predictor. If they have one more good over from Rajapaksa, he's hitting the ball very cleanly. One more good over at 150 would be a great target to get. And Australia would be very nervous chasing that one.
He goes hard in the latter stages of innings. Rajapaksa, strike rate in the final phase of 182. And he's doing well today. This is pushed as far as that good point in Aaron Finch. Valuable dot ball. Cummins bowling to Shanaka, who's only got 8 from 17. He could do really with getting off strike.
Yeah, that's probably what Mickey Arthur's sitting up in the grandstand saying as well. But yeah, this Shanaka, he's got some hitting power as well. He just needs to get one away, I think, just to give him some confidence and get the ball rolling.
He waits now on strike on 8, 130 for 5. He hits that hard through the offside for 4. Pierces the gap, and that is that release shot. Another boundary, 134 for 5.
Yeah, that's his game. He just waits for the ball in his area. He sits deep in the crease. Pat Cummins looking for that wideish Yorker, slightly short of that Yorker length, and presented a half volley, and Shanaka absolutely smashes that through the gap between cover and mid-off, who are both up in the circle. And this outfield lightning quick, and that's no one stopping that.
Sri Lanka having looked like getting an excellent score and then it dipping away quite a lot. We've turned this round again and are on course for something really competitive. Cummins is in. Shanaka on strike. Goes down the ground. It's gone very high. I fancy will go into the gloves of the keeper. It does. He was looking to go down the ground and we sort of lost it in the air and actually just basically flew straight up. So Shanaka goes. Maybe not the worst result that for Sri Lanka. 12 from 18 and the score 134 for 6.
Yeah, and the good thing too, he's hit it high enough that the batsman can cross, so Rajapaksa should be on strike first, well, for this next ball. But Pat Cummins again, persisting with that wider line, this time a slower ball into the pitch. Shanaka looking to flat bat it straight back over the bowler's head or mid-off, getting nothing but a top edge, and it's gone straight up. Matty Wade takes a simple catch behind the wicket.
And it's going to be Chamika Karunaratne that comes to the middle at number 8, jogging out to join the big hitting Bhanuka Rajapaksa, who's done a sterling job once again. 134 for 6. Karunaratne heading to the middle, looking to try and just give a little bit of muscle at the back end of this innings. He was a junior national champion at javelin and has competed internationally at badminton, Karunaratne, which is pretty good going. He's one of those people that there's always one.
He's probably a straight A student as well.
Yeah, there's always one.
One of them, yeah. Who's you pick to bowl the next over, Henry?
And this is a good question as Cummins is in. And slower ball hits the bat of Rajapaksa, who can do nothing with it, gets in a bit of a tangle. Dot ball, just 6 from the over so far. My instinct would be 19th over being so important. I've got a feeling Starc could go the distance more than Hazelwood would.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I think Hazelwood bowl the next one. Starc finish it off. Go either way, really.
In comes Cummins then, his final ball. And this is helped round the corner. It's going to head down towards the fine leg boundary, but there is protection there with Hazelwood sprinting round. And I think that's come off glove, so it will be credited to the batter. 28 now for Rajapaksa. It's the end of Cummins' spell. 4 overs, 2 for 34. And the score with 2 overs remaining in this innings, 1-3-5 for 6. You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra and the ABC as we bring you Australia against Sri Lanka from the T20 World Cup. The venue Dubai. And a game that is set up, even if the innings were to finish now, it would be a decent game, this. We've got 2 overs left. If they can somehow muster 15 from them.
Yeah, if they can get that magic 150 on this surface, I think if, as I said before, the ball stays dry, the fingers can grip the ball, spinners will play a massive part. The first 6 overs in the Australian batting innings will be very important. That's power play. They need to really put the foot down and get as many as they can in that to make it easy for the rest of the innings.
Well, it's going to be Starc to bowl this penultimate over. Tall left-arm fast bowler into bowl to Rajapaksa. And it's on the pads looking for that Yorker we saw earlier on doing for Asalanka. Oh, I should say for Perera. And it is worked into the offside.
Yeah, I wonder if we see Mitch Starc coming around the wicket to the right-hander with that ball now to starting to tail away. Reverse swing starting to come into play this evening, and Mitch Starc we know is lethal to right-handers around the wicket at this stage. The ball is tailing away, Yorker length, looking to hit, or pitch middle and hit middle. Very difficult to bat against that sort of bowling at 90 mile an hour. So.
And it is Starc once again. And he's going to move in with a score at 1-3-6 for 6. He comes round the wicket. And this is lofted down the ground. It's a decent connection, and mid-off up inside the circle. Takes the shot on, gets the boundary. First ball for Karunaratne, goes to the ropes, 140 for 6.
That's a great shot. Mitch Starc, as I said, coming around the wicket looking to bowl that Yorker full length. Slightly short of that. Karunaratne gets into a good position to hit it straight back over mid-off's head. A great shot.
And that fielder up inside the circle, tempting that shot. And it's really well played. 140 for 6 then. We've got 10 balls left of the innings. What can Sri Lanka get to? They're being put into bat and looking to try and put pressure on Australia. Starc is in around the wicket again. This is played into the offside, up towards mid-off, and a single is taken. So Rajapaksa will be back on strike on 28. And Karunaratne has done his job really there. A boundary and then a single to get off strike.
Yeah, you get the Rajapaksa, the man in form, Rajapaksa back on strike. Starc looking again for this in-swinging Yorker, the one that got Kusal Perera was a beauty. With Rajapaksa looking to go downtown. Watch his toes.
In comes Starc. It is full, it's on the pads, and there'll be another leg by as frustration for Rajapaksa, who slaps his bat into his pad and thinks he's missed out there because it was a full toss on the pads. Wouldn't have taken much on it to whistle away. But instead it is just that one leg by, 142 for 6.
Yeah, we just see that little bit of in-swing to the left-hander. It just takes the ball away from the bat. And very hard to adjust when it's 90 mile an hour. Rajapaksa looking offside as well, which sort of takes him out of the game. Could have just tickled it down the fine leg.
In comes Starc then, around the wicket. Ball to Karunaratne. Drills the ball out as far as cover. Throw comes in. Had it hit from Mitchell Marsh, he would have gone. It wasn't far away. There was not much to aim at for the Australian all-rounder. But he misses. And Rajapaksa survives.
Yeah, they've come in tight on the new batsman, which is what you need to do. And that's a horrendous throw from Mitch Marsh. He's missed the... He's had one stump to aim at and he's missed it by a good 6 feet, I reckon. Rajapaksa about 2 yards out.
In comes Starc then. Final ball of the 19th over. It's a full toss which is thrashed away into the offside. It's going to clear the infield, but there is a fielder in the deep. Cummins it is. Throw comes in and not quickly enough to prevent the two. That's good running. 1-4-4 for 6. Starc will probably take that as an over. We've seen 9 from it. But considering 19th over, that's the one teams really so often you see big runs scored from it. 1-4-4 for 6 with 1 over left. Will 150 be possible? But why does it make such a difference psychologically? 150.
It's hard to say why, but you know, I think you look at the scores that have happened in the tournament at the different grounds, and 150 plus has been very difficult to get to, and you know, I just think that it's a mental block at times. You know, you got to go out chase 150 like you're chasing 190. If you do that and you lose 3 wickets in the power play, you're behind the 8 ball. So it's just a tough chase. Everyone's always said the hardest run to get is the last run to win.
It's going to be Hazlewood to bowl the final over. There's just a little bit of a pause. Rajapaksa has seen something behind the bowler that is distracting him. I was at a game in the English summer at Derby. And I'll bring you more in a moment as Hazlewood prepares to come in past the umpire. And it's chasing the batter who's dug that ball out into the offside. Nicely played. There's a dive from the fielder. Cummins can't stop it. He did well, and in fact did something I've never seen before, which I admire as a tactic, which is when he saw the ball was dribbling towards the rope, he tried to move the rope back. He tried to grab it and sort of drag it away. I'm afraid unsuccessfully, but that was quite fun from Pat Cummins. Yeah, move that. Yeah, off you go.
Big swat.
Yeah, that's not how this game works, Pat. And it is 4 runs. So perfect start to the over. 1-4-8 for 6. This is on the pads. If he'd left it alone and managed to get out the way, it would have been signalled wide, I fancy, but instead a leg by. 1-4-9 for 6. So this game at Derby, it was a women's international, and we saw suddenly there was a pause in play. I looked up and 2 supporters had set up an entire picnic in between overs and didn't quite realise what the problem was. They couldn't understand why no one had taken these very advantageous seats right behind the bowler's arm. So there was a long pause as the sandwiches were put away, the table was packed up.
Brilliant. Oh dear.
Karunaratne is on strike then. Sri Lanka 1 away from the 150 mark. Hazlewood. He's bustling in once again, powerfully built man. It's a full toss which is drilled away, not particularly well timed, and it will be picked up by Mitchell Starc at wide, long off. So that is the 150, midway through the final over of the innings, and they would have taken that.
Yeah, we've got a game on our hands now, which is great. You know, I think this is the must-win game for both these teams. You know, lose this one, it's going to be difficult to play England still. As we said before, if you lose 2, you never know. You don't want to be in that position. You're happy to lose 1, but if you lose 2, you're in all sorts of trouble, I believe.
Hazlewood coming in, and once again Rajapaksa has seen something behind the bowler that has distracted him, and I don't know what it is. I think it's a gentleman in a white shirt who's got accreditation on, and I think he might be a security guard who is in charge of making sure people don't do that.
Oh, God bless.
I know security guards have to wear bright things, but that is the most distracting look. Right then, here we go. 3 balls left of the innings. Rajapaksa on strike on 32. Hazlewood is in. Down the track comes Rajapaksa, and it is a pretty filthy delivery down the leg side. And signalled wide by umpire Illingworth. So 1 more onto the total. Hazlewood completely losing his line.
Yeah, Rajapaksa putting the bowler off there, charging and coming down the wicket outside leg stump. Hazelwood trying to follow the batsman. Gets it very wrong as a horrendous. I think you're very kind saying it was a poor delivery. Not one you sort of accustomed to watching Josh Hazelwood bowl, but batsman putting him under immense pressure.
Back's on strike. This is on the pads and played into the pads. They'll run through what I think will be signalled as a run. It may have been directly off those pads. We'll wait and see.
I think this innings, I've never seen a batsman hit on the pad more often.
I know
And
that.
at that pace, getting hit at all these different angles. Have we ever seen a batsman replace his front pad?
What, halfway through the
Halfway
innings?
through an innings, yeah.
I don't know what the signal would be to call for a new set of pads.
Oh, I bet there is one. I haven't seen it, but
Yeah, you'd have maybe tap your leg, sort of an extended signal for a leg bye. That was a leg bye. 152 for 6. 2 balls left of the innings. Karunaratne on strike. Plays an extraordinary shot through the offside on one leg, but only out as far as Smith. They'll go for the second run, will they? No. So 1 ball left of the innings. 153 for 6. A boundary would be welcome for Sri Lanka, but they're past 150. This is going to be a real game for Australia. Hazelwood sweats, mops his brow, and marches back to the end of his mark.
yeah, big ball here. This goes for 6, a 160 chase.
Rajapaksa on strike. Hazelwood in, final ball of the innings, and that's well bowled, following the batter who was taking a step towards the leg side. They'll run through for a single. That will be that. So Hazelwood finishes with figures of none for 26. 20 overs have been bowled, 154 for 6. We sense the dressing room of Sri Lanka will be happier than Australia at this stage.
Oh, look, I think Australia will put on that the bravado they do, and they'll probably be expecting to face, chase down 175, and they believe that if they get off to a good start in that power play, that anything is possible. Australia need to see David Warner and Aaron Finch get them off to a solid start, and then capitalise towards the back end of that. Set a platform like Sri Lanka did. Hopefully the middle order then for Australia can capitalise on that. Mitch Marsh, Glenn Maxwell, Steve Smith, to finish off the job.
So the required rate, 7.75 runs per over. So it is, it's an ask, it really is. Play will be back underway in about 9 minutes time from now, so there isn't that much time to turn things around. I mean, Adam Zampa, unquestionably the standout performer with the ball for Australia, really managed to wrest things back. He was superb in this innings, and after that really quick start from Sri Lanka, they needed somebody to do the business, and 4 overs, 2 for 12 is pretty much everything you could ask for from a bowler in T20 cricket.
Yeah, outstanding. He's at this format. He knows what he needs to do. He's been very good in Big Bash throughout the time. His time over here in the Blast as well. He was excellent for Essex. He knows his game. He's gotten better and better. And tonight just showed his class against a team that usually plays spin very well.
35 each for Perera and Asalanka. There was 33 not out from Rajapaksa in there. A score of 12 for Shanaka, but at quite a slow rate, 12 from 19 deliveries. And in terms of the bowling, as we say, it was Adam Zampa who was outstanding. Also Mitchell Starc had a decent day. Let's hear from him now.
I saw the knee was strapped up, but that didn't bother you tonight. And a couple beautiful deliveries with that Yorker to Kusal Perera. Talk us through it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Just copped the knock at training, so no stress. But yeah, it's nice to have a couple come out nicely, I guess. Put a few overs together, but yeah, look, they had a couple of partnerships there, but I thought we dragged them back nicely after the power play. And yeah, look, I think it's a pretty average score for this wicket, so hopefully we can chase it down.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, 154. Do you think this is a gettable total for you guys?
Yeah, obviously our first game here. A few guys have played in the IPL, so yeah, I think they think it's I guess a pretty stock standard score, if you like. We've definitely got the firepower in the sheds, a few partnerships, and hopefully we're on the better side of it by the end of the night.
All the best and well bowled.
Thanks, Dave.
A thoughts there of Mitchell Starc, who took 2 for 27 from his 4 overs. Other wicket takers, Pat Cummins, who also picked up a couple, and Zampa, as we mentioned, who picked up 2 wickets. So 20 overs have been bowled in this game. We've seen Sri Lanka make 154 for 6. Australia then, 155 as a target. Alex Hartley's going to join us again in just a moment, and I give her thoughts on this innings and what we've seen. And it's one of those, isn't it, Alex, where Starc says, well, it's a pretty stock standard score, but it's going to take some getting.
It is going to take some getting, and if you're anywhere else in the world and it's 155 to win, it is a pretty standard score, but the scores have been low throughout this competition, and 135, 140, that's actually been enough on the board. And you look at that Sri Lanka bowling attack, and their spinners are going to be crucial. We saw how well Adam Zampa bowled throughout. I was actually really surprised we didn't see Glenn Maxwell again. Just through for the turn that Zampa was getting. Can he sneak in another over? Maybe instead of Stoinis, who knows? But yeah, I think it's going to take some chasing.
So what are the expectations for Australia in this tournament? Back in Australia, what's the feeling? What are people looking to see?
A trophy at the end of the T20 World Cup, and that's what the players will want too. Every tournament they go into, every series they go into Australia, they expect to win, and that's been born by the success they've had in the 50 over World Cup. We haven't quite nailed how we play in the T20 World Cup yet. We made the final once, got beaten by England in the Caribbean, but that's not good enough for Australia. And I can tell you that everyone back home would expect Australia to feature not only in the semi-finals but also in the final, and get the trophy, bring it home. But that's immense pressure. That's what the boys play for. They love. That's what they want to do. I mean, we don't play the game just to make up the numbers. We all want to win the trophy. And I don't think Sri Lanka are exactly the same. It's probably more cutthroat in the Asian countries than it is in in Australia, England, and what have you. If they come home without a trophy, it's a real big no-no. Australia will be the same.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? The Australia record in the T20 World Cup 2016, the last tournament, which feels a really long time ago now. It didn't make the semi-finals. On that occasion, you mentioned the success relative in 2010. But what hasn't it quite happened? Because you look on paper and they've got some immense white ball cricketers.
Yeah, they have. It's just, we spoke about form coming into a tournament. I think these things, you can leave form at the door, and you turn up, and it's played on passion, it's played on knowledge, but also the amount of background work that goes into your plans, and you're not just planning for a team, you're planning for phases, you're planning for different players. We call them matchups nowadays, a matchup between a batter and a bowler. The Asian countries are very, very good at that. They've got statisticians, analysts, coming out of their ears, and they have all the information that you need to get out there and play good cricket. But then it's about getting in those situations more often and trying to work out how to get out of it. And if you don't get out of it, sit down, talk about it, learn how to get out of it next time. And whether Australia, I'm sure Australia do that as well, but whether they do it as well as other countries remains to be seen. But T20 just seems to be a bit of a monkey on the back at the moment for Australia. And as you say, they've got the players, they've got the firepower to do it. It's just a matter of turning up and doing it.
Alex, why would a side who have succeeded so much in one format struggle so greatly in another?
I think sometimes you get into formats and forms where you find ways to lose, especially in competitions like T20 competitions, and you end up losing games that you should have won because you're in a habit of losing. And as silly as that sounds, you almost have that devil on your shoulder being like, whoa, we're winning, like this isn't normal, we're used to losing, we're used to fighting, and especially in tournament cricket, momentum is key. So often you find with teams that keep winning, they win from positions where they shouldn't necessarily win, and it's exactly the same with the opposite. You end up finding ways to lose throughout competitions, especially when you're used to losing.
And I say Australia haven't succeeded in T20 cricket. I mean, they have not been disastrous by any stretch of the imagination in the relative scheme of it. But for Australia, and as you say, they go into every tournament expecting to bring the trophy home.
Yeah, no, and in Australia, being the public, and cricket is the national sport. If we don't win a trophy, we've had a bad time. If you come second, it doesn't make any difference. You may as well come last. So that's immense pressure, but these boys know what they're playing for, and as I said before, there are a lot of riches on show and available now for these boys to go and play cricket, but you know, the Australian boys, they love playing the game of cricket. They love winning trophies. They love winning games of cricket. So that does put extra pressure on you, but no excuse. They've now got to go out and show it. They talk a good game. You know, they understand a good game. They know how to go out and put things together. They just got to do it all together on the night.
We're about to see the start of play. The two batters are on the boundary edge. The Sri Lankan fielders are beginning to congregate and prepare for a huddle. And we are all set for what should be a really interesting run chase. This 155 is a target that I think is, as we keep saying, it feels right in the balance. It feels really close. Alex, I'm going to get out of the way. You're going to stay on for commentary. Simon's going to see us through the opening stages. When you have been in positions like this in team meetings with defending a target or looking to try and put pressure on in power play overs, what be the conversations that Sri Lanka would have been having?
Wickets throughout the power play are where games are won and lost. I think if you're Sri Lanka now, you're thinking, can we just try and get Australia 2 or 3 down in this power play and then really put the pressure on Australia's middle order? Whereas in Australia perspective, they need to take advantage of the power play. Only having 2 fielders outside of the fielding circle for 6 overs, they need to take 1 or 2 overs to get themselves in and get used to the pace of the pitch. But they really need to fire in that first 6 overs.
Yeah, we could have a really good game on our hands here. Australia set 155 to win. And what Sri Lanka do have, they have some pace in their attack, but also they have a couple of very useful spinners as well. But I wonder whether, if they do go pace at the start, we'll have to find out whether Warner and Finch will prefer that, and they might be able to get off to a flying start. Anyway, 155 for Australia to win this match. Remember, both sides have won 1 game each so far. They won their opening games. Sri Lanka against Bangladesh, Australia against South Africa. 5 group matches, and the top 2 in the group go through to the semi-finals. So 2 through and 4 miss out. And you'd think Bangladesh and West Indies are going to struggle to make it, so it might be 2 from 4. England 2 wins, good start, and whoever wins this will have 2 wins as well. So you've taken 1 step towards the semi-finals. But it's one of those groups where you feel everyone could, or anyone could beat anyone, whereas you don't necessarily feel that so much, I think, in the Pakistan, India, New Zealand group, where you think it might be quite hard for Namibia, Scotland to beat many of the teams in their group.
Yeah, you look at both groups and they're actually both really interesting to look at, because you drop 1 game in England's group and that could be really crucial. However, you drop a game in the other group and you might have another chance to gain some momentum.
Karunaratne bowls the first ball to Warner. It's on his pads. He's knocked it into the onside. Warner scurries that characteristic fashion down to the non-striker's end. Australia are underway. Single to Warner, who made a point in his pre-match press conference that he's not out of form. He said he's hardly had any cricket. He thinks it's quite funny that people are saying I'm out of form, but his last 5 scores, 0-2, 0-1, 14.
And that's why people are saying he's out of form. But as a batter and an opening batter in T20 cricket, you actually only win the game for your team 1 every 7 innings.
Exactly, yeah, that's true. I mean, it's a good point, isn't it? Here's Karunaratne going into bowl to Finch. Finch is struck on the pad. Shout for LBW. Is it going down? Sri Lanka absolutely convinced, but umpire Illingworth shakes his head. One of those that might well have been clipping leg stump. Umpire Illingworth is not raising the finger. The DRS timer clock is ticking down, and Sri Lanka are not going to review it. There was a concerted appeal. They pitched a roundabout off stump and nipped back. Hit him just above the knee roll as well. I wonder if this is umpire's call on leg stump. Umpire Illingworth not happy with that, so said it's up to you to challenge me, and they did not. Karunaratne bowls outside the off stump, and that's just where Finch wants it, and he hammers it away for 4. Well, width there and a bit short, and that's the problem for Sri Lanka. If they're going to bowl like that, then these 2 Australian openers are going to get after them. And Finch is off the mark. You've still got to knock them away, but that's where they want them, really, a bit of width.
Well, that's the ideal ball to get early up in your innings, to play yourself in, short, wide, outside the off stump, covers inside the fielding circle, and you just classer it through the offside for 4.
yeah, later on, when you got the fielders outside the circle, it's fine. You can sweep it up on the deep cover boundary, but yeah, as you say, Alex, when they're up, it just disappears. So Finch is on to 4. Australia 5 for no wicket. Karunaratne right arm over the wicket, struck on the pad again. That's going down the leg side. Karunaratne sprints after it towards mid-wicket, picks it up, and there's no run. There's a real keenness out there, as you'd expect from Sri Lanka. They're right on this. Just seeing the shout for LBW earlier in the over. Umpire's called for impact and missing. Yeah.
Missing, going over. It's not actually got that much going for it.
Umpire Illingworth's got a smile on his face. I don't know whether you've just seen the big screen, seen that out there.
Must feel good as an umpire when you know you've got it right.
Yeah. I think it feels best when you give them out twice. You give them out once, they challenge you, give them out again. 5 for no wicket in this first over. Australia chasing 155. Karunaratne bowls outside the off stump and smacked away out towards the deep cover boundary, and that's gone for 4 as well. If you're going to bowl there, you might as well not bother going out there, really. I mean, it's really poor bowling from Karunaratne. They actually had a man back square on the offside, on sort of deep point, deep backward point, and no chance to scurry around there. Really bad bowling. Finch picks up 2 boundaries. In fact, that ball was worse than the one before.
Put his deep point fielder out there and bowled short and wide, but Finch has just managed to play it in front of square. It was really negative bowling that. Not ideal, not bowling to your field. You've got to try and get the ball up there, get the ball swinging in this first couple of overs.
Karunaratne bowls to Finch, and that's a much better delivery. It goes over the top of the stumps, cuts back. And Finch tried to play it, missed it, and past the inside edge, between his body and the inside edge, and through to wicket keeper. And I mean, a bit of a mixture in that over. That actually created a puff of dust as well on the pitch. So, a mixed bag from Karunaratne in that first over. 9 for no wicket, 2 boundaries, 2 bad balls were dispatched. Now we're going to see spin for the second over. Theekshana is going to bowl to Warner. Now, Warner's point is a reasonable one about, you know, how do you know I'm not in good form? I've only had a few innings. You know, hardly batted since April. He did make a half century in the IPL back in April. 57 against CSK in Delhi. And in 2 IPL innings, 0 and 2, because then he was dropped by his IPL franchise, Sunrisers. Then a couple of warm-up matches. He said, well, you know, they're just warm-up games. They're not proper games. I got 0 in 1 in that. And he made 14 in the first match in this World Cup. Anyway, he's on 1. Theekshana right arm over the wicket to Warner with a slip in. And Warner leans forward and plays defensively back up the offside of the pitch. And there's no run. Warner 1, Finch 8. Just switching on. Australia 155 to win. There's a real mixed bag from Sri Lanka in their batting effort as well. Good start, then a collapse, then a recovery. Theekshana bowls, reverse sweep from Warner, gets it over the infield, down to the deep third boundary for 4. Well, good enough contact there. I didn't think it was perfect contact, but it was good enough contact. It went high, ballooning away down towards the boundary.
Well, you don't play that shot if you're not in form. David Warner switching his feet to play the reverse sweep up and over backward point. There's a slip-in play as well, so it's always that danger, high risk, high reward. And Warner gets away with that one and gets 4 for it.
3 boundaries inside the first 8 balls of the innings. 13 for no wicket. Theekshana goes in, bowls to Warner, and Warner gets the bat down just in time. Theekshana thought he got through there. Straight ball. Warner played it into the onside towards mid-wicket. Picks up a single. 14 for no wicket. Theekshana is relatively new to the scene. He's 21 years of age, and it just takes a bit of time to get used to his method of bowling. He's been compared to a Sri Lankan spinner of the past who had a big impact on the game, and then he's gone from the game now. Finch plays that one, straight ball into the onside towards short fine leg. And there's no run. Finch on at 8, Warner 6. 14 for no wicket in the second over. Theekshana gets a pat from his captain.
Come on, mate. Come on, mate.
It's always good to see a promising young bowler come into the game with a bit of mystery about him. It's only a mystery if you can't read him. It's all right if you can read him, it's fine. Here's Theekshana, right arm over the wicket, goes in and bowls, played away into the onside towards mid-wicket for one. They're going to come back for the second, I think. No, they're not. There's a deep mid-wicket fielder. There's good judgment, good calling from the two Australian batsmen, because the throw was hard and low into the stumps, the non-striker's end. And I don't think they would have got back for the second if they tried it.
A huge almighty no from Finch there.
Theekshana bowls, Warner covers up, looks for a single into the onside. Oh, he's still halfway down the pitch. Shanaka hurls the ball back to the wicketkeeper, and Warner is back. He's so quick. Warner up and down. Of course, he has had his issues occasionally with the bouncer, I suppose. With Finch, he was run out in that World Cup match at the Oval in 2019 against India. And there was a mix-up between the two of them, and there was nearly one there. That was, all, I think, more of Warner's making, really.
Well, it's Warner's call. The ball was played in front of square, but Finch sat on his back handle. He said, absolutely not. You get back. I am staying here.
Janta Mendes was the spinner I was talking about, who came in and had a tremendous impact to start with. I remember it was an Asia Cup final match against India where he took something like 6 for 12 or it was something like that. And you're talking about top class Indian batsman, and they could not read him. They had no clue. And then gradually they looked at the video, they sorted him out.
You often find that with bowlers that are new on the scene. They quite often have a year where they take loads of wickets and they're really hard to pick, and they look like they're going to be really successful, and then their second year they sort of tailor away as you get more and more footage of them bowling and teams do more and more analysis.
That's where you probably need to find an extra trick or two. You need to keep improving, don't you? Here's Dushmantha Chameera into the attack. It's a lovely shot from Finch down the ground for 4. Full-on drive there from Finch. Beautiful stroke, just back past the stumps. So that's 4 boundaries already. 19 for no wicket, start of the third over. And Chameera's first ball hit back past him. Fine shot from Finch. Really good shot down the ground.
A knuckle ball as well, first ball for Chameera, just dragging his fingers behind the seam, bowling a knuckle ball, a brave delivery to bowl first up when you've not bowled a ball yet. Just over pitching that, and Finch able to drive it down the ground for 4. A classical cricket shot.
Yeah, it's really well played. Decent start this from Australia, although Finch has got a problem with his bat. So they brought out 2 or 3 more for him to select from. That one seemed to come right out the middle of it, the one he was using.
He'll be saying, don't bring me out a bat, bring me out some tape, this one's working. I just want to try and hold this one together for now.
And he's happy, he waits, and that's a good delivery from Chameera. That's better from Sri Lanka. Hard length, just on off stump, no width. And Finch unable to do anything with it other than defend it, so a dot ball. Sri Lanka 75 for 1 at one stage, 78 for 1 I should say at one stage, 94 for 5, and then Rajapaksa getting them up to 154 for 6, which is not a huge score in T20 terms, but I feel as if they're in the game, especially on these pitches in the UAE. Chameera bowls to Finch. Finch turns that into the onside towards mid-wicket, sharp the stumps, the non-striker's end, knocks the bails off, but Finch has made it home. It's actually quite a long, short single, if that makes sense. 20 for no wicket, middle of the third over. Finch with that single, he's up to 14. I mentioned that Australia have been on top of Sri Lanka in T20 cricket of late. They've won the last 4 matches, 6 the last 8. But overall, it's 8-all between these two sides. Recently, Australia, I say recently, 2019 is the last time they met. Recently, they've been on top of them. Largely with these players as well, more Australian than Sri Lanka, that is. Here's Chameera bowling. There's a miscue from Warner. He's going to get away with it. Out through extra cover. Shanaka's after it. Hauls it in, sends in the return. And Warner comes back for 2 streaky-ish runs. Looking to go over the top there against Chameera.
Got away with that because he's tried to go straight, but he's gone inside out as well, and as he's he's going inside out, the ball's skewed off into the offside and up and over extra cover. Not where he intended the ball to go. But with all those fielders inside the ring, he gets away with it.
22 for no wicket, third over. Chameera bowls. Warner dabs it down to deep third for a single. Moves on to 9. How many Ashes runs is Warner going to get, Alex?
Ooh. Hopefully not that many. Not when Stuart Broad's bowling at him.
Yeah, but he's got the Kookaburra rather than the Dukes, hasn't he? And he's bowling in Australia. And he's not.
It's very true.
He's not bowling in England. Well, that's one of the questions that's to be answered, of course, in the Ashes. How's Warner going to cope at the top of the order? Mid-30s now, Warner. Chameera into bowl to Finch, and Finch drags the ball from just outside the off stump, miscues it up towards mid-on. And there is no run. That's the end of 3 overs. Chameera's first over has gone for 8. It's 23 for no wicket Australia. At the same stage, Sri Lanka with 25 for 1 after 3. We saw some good aggressive cricket at the top from Perera with 35 and Asalanka with 35. Neither of those able to quite go on. They were threatening to do so. Asalanka made a tremendous start. His first 2 balls for 4. Zampa was good. Looking forward to seeing what the 2 Sri Lanka spinners are going to come up with tonight. Just looking at the dew, there doesn't seem to be too much at the moment. It's not really obvious. Sometimes you can, they've got the cloths out there and things like that, but often the ball comes back. They're being dried every ball. But it's difficult to tell at the moment.
No, I don't even think the players know when the dew comes. There's no certain time. They've not quite figured that out yet, but it's a case of everybody get a towel and be ready for it.
Yeah. They've got blue towels tucked into the back of their trousers. Here is Kumara into the attack. First ball is a full toss, turned away by Warner. Stopped to mid-wicket. It was 90 mile an hour low full toss. That first one from Lahiru Kumara. I think it was Stewart earlier, wasn't it, saying that he'd bowled the quickest ball of any of the players on the field in this tournament. Lahiru Kumara. And he's into the attack now. 24 for no wicket. Start of the 4th over. Field changes over for the right-handed Finch.
Talking about fast balls, the ball to dismiss Perera was the fastest ball bowled to a Sri Lankan. From Mitchell Starc.
Kumara into bowl to Finch. Finch drives. Nice looking shot. Beats mid-off 4. Scuttles to the boundary. Really sort of efficient batting from Finch. No nonsense. Drive down the ground. Mid-off fielder dived away to his right-hand side and stopped it. So Starc bowled the quickest ball in the Sri Lanka's innings.
He bowled the quickest ball ever to be bowled at a Sri Lankan, apparently.
Ever?
Yeah, I got it from Twitter, so it's got to be true.
Must be true then.
It's got to be true, hasn't it? I'm going to find it. Watch it be the slowest.
28 for no wicket in the 4th over, Australia. Finch to 18, short outside the off stump, uppercut, down towards the boundary. That's gone for 6. And there's a chap in a grey top who went to try to catch that, and he didn't catch it, and he was absolutely so angry with himself. It is his big moment on TV. Brilliant shot
he's
from
dropped
Finch.
it.
Bad ball, really. Short outside the off stump. Beautifully played by Finch. Uppercut. Thanks very much. I'll have 6 for that. 66 metres down there. But he probably didn't think he was ever going to get a catch in that part of the ground. He leant forward. He got his hands to it. He was leaning over the rail there, right at the front of the stand, and it went through his fingers, and his big moment is gone forever.
If you're going to say stats on the radio, you've got to make sure you get them right. So, my stat that was wrong, but I thought was right, was the ball which dismissed Perera is the second fastest ball to ever dismiss the Sri Lankan. Sort of nearly right.
The Sri Lankan or any Sri Lankan?
No, the Sri Lankan.
So, it's a bit of a niche stat, this. 34 for no wicket in the 4th over. Finch gets a slower ball, which he nudges back with a square on the onside and takes a single. And Australia advanced to 35 for no wicket in the 4th over. They've been set 155 to win. And they've made a good start here. There's been some poor bowling from Sri Lanka. Too many freebies so far, but also a couple of really good shots. Warner making a boundary for himself with that reverse sweep, and Finch also dispatching one down the ground.
It's just just the Sri Lankan, so the player.
So just Perera.
Yeah, just Perera.
Okay. It's getting Nisha. Kumara around the wicket. A huge wipe from Warner. He gets lucky. That was a real slog. And he got an inside edge, it's gone for 4, down towards fine leg. Fine leg up inside the circle. It went past the leg stump and down to the boundary. Well, 14 to Warner. Oh, absolutely horrendous stroke. But still get 4 for it. And the bowler just cannot believe it. How can you do that, he says.
Lucky.
That's not fair.
Yeah, Warner very, very lucky there. That could have easily have gone on to hit the stumps. An ugly hack across the line of the ball. But it makes this over even more expensive. 16 coming off it so far.
Yeah, 39 for no wicket. Lahiru Kumara bowls. Warner clubs it back past the bowler. It was in the air, around about waist height, but there was no way the bowler was stopping that or catching it. It's gone for 4. Warner absolutely thrashed that back. Takes him to 18. And Australia made an excellent start. 43 for no wicket after 4 overs. I always thought this was going to be the danger for Sri Lanka. It's coming down quickly, but it's also disappearing quickly.
It is, when you just don't quite get your line and length right to these two opening Australia pair, Warner and Finch. They can capitalise on that. As that ball was hit back past the bowler there, the TV screens go to Glenn Maxwell, who can't look because he thought he was so close to hitting the bowler.
Yeah, it's probably just as well he didn't get a hand to it. It might have broken his hand. It was hit back that hard by David Warner. So Warner, 18 not out from 10. Finch is 25 not out from 14. And Sri Lanka now, it's their turn to feel the pressure. The power of these two Australia opening batsmen. And Chameera is going to bowl his second over. So Australia's scoring over 10 runs and over. Here is Chameera bowling, and that's a big drive down the ground by Finch. This is heading over the long on boundary. It's gone for 6. What a magnificent shot from Finch, lifting it back past the bowler, way into the night sky and over the rope. And Australia are bounding along here. 49 for no wicket, still in the power play. It was a nice length ball, but absolutely dispatched by Finch, 80 metres. Must be so dispiriting to rush in, hurl it down, and see the ball sailing way back past you into the night sky for 6.
Sometimes as a bowler you just have to say, well, that was a good shot. And Finch there, yes, it was a little bit too full, but he just picked it up so cleanly. Bullet straight as well, back past the bowler, over their head, into the stands for 6.
Well, a great start by Australia. Just gone out there and taken it on. Well, they've made it for themselves as well. I mean, there have been 2 or 3 really loose balls, but they also made the running outside the off stump from Chameera. Cut away by Finch down towards deep third. That's gone for 4 as well. Diving effort to save it on the rope, unsuccessful. Lahiru Kumara down there, and 53 for no wicket. And we're not even up to the end of the power play yet. Still 10 balls of potential punishment to come, and I wonder whether Finch and Warner have not won the game for Australia already, but they've taken such a huge chunk out. It's very hard for Sri Lanka to build any pressure from here. Chameera into bowl to Finch. Finch gets a straight ball and off stump. She dabs into the offside. They pinch a single shot. The stumps needs to be backed up as well. There could have been overthrows there. A fierce throw coming in from the cover region. And 54 for no wicket. And we're only midway through the 5th over. 155 to win.
There's a good bit of backing up there as well. There is nothing worse, in my opinion, than when someone's shying at the stumps and you're having to back up because they're throwing the ball as hard as they can, and you're having to be the one that just gets anything behind it to stop it going for 4.
Warner is in his running. He's so positive, so quick. It just put pressure on a fielding side. Sri Lanka feeling the heat at the moment. Dushmantha Chameera bowls a short ball down the leg side, and was that a drop catch? It might well have been. Warner went for the pull shot. Did he glove it through? I think he might have done.
Yeah, he's punched that straight through to the wicketkeeper, who's just juggled it. A simple catch. Yes, it was going down the leg side.
Well, Kusal Perera there. It wasn't a particularly good delivery. Warner's got quite a piece of that. And it was a 100 out of 100 catch for a keeper, that. It was just to collect the ball down the leg side, and he's put it down. He nearly caught it between his knees.
He couldn't have dropped that. He won't drop that ever again, even if he tries. It was that simple.
And Chameera, and he was celebrating. He thought, oh, that's out. Warner dropped on 18. Really bad drop. Chameera bowls. Warner tucked up, but turns it away. Back with a square on the onside. Picked up in the deep. And Warner gets a single. And Australia 55 for no wicket.
Well, the bowler celebrated. The umpire raised the finger, then had to point back down to the floor. Because it was just a regulation catch for the keeper that was just put down.
Yeah. It almost, what perhaps did him was the fact he sort of lobbed to him. Normally it would just come through quite quickly, but it's almost ballooned to him. So, I don't know, perhaps too much time to think about it. Time for Mickey Cam as well. Again, now Mickey Arthur, focus on him. The TV producer, they always love that. Oh my goodness me. Dushmantha Chameera has just bowled one of the most outrageous deliveries I've ever seen in international cricket. He hurled it down and it went to about fourth slip. It hurled it into the pitch. What's the umpire going to decide here?
I mean, so it's either a no ball or a dead ball, but I think that it's going to be a no ball because it actually went in front of him. Had it had gone to the side or behind him, it would have been a dead ball. But it's going to be a no ball because it went about 4 or 5 yards in front of him before it bounced off the pitch.
Well, there's the no ball signal from umpire Illingworth. He just had it checked. It's a free hit as well. I mean, this is absolute shambles from Sri Lanka in this over. I mean, you can bowl those in 4th 11 club cricket. So in a way, it's quite consoling they can do it at this level as well. But it should not be happening. He must have just slipped out of his hand. He had to hurl it down. He's dragged it wide to about 5th slip. Here's the free hit. Full toss is drilled to mid-on. He gets away with it. Finch drills it to mid-on and on the ground. Well, we've seen all sorts in those first 5 overs. Australia are 56 for no wicket, but the bottom line is there's been some very good aggressive batting from Warner and Finch. Warner 19, lucky still to be there. Finch on 36. Perhaps that's the moment Warner needs. Chameera, all sorts in that over. 6-4-1.1, no ball, and then the free hit. Managed to produce a dot ball. 2 overs to 21. Australia need 99 more to win from the last 15 overs. Not a great deal of discipline out there from Sri Lanka, but good from Australia. Right, Henry Moran's going to pick up the commentary after a few more thoughts from you, Alex.
It has been really good for Australia.
Delivery in, and it was your big moment, Alex. I'm so sorry.
Me.
I'm so sorry. It goes down the leg side.
It was a sweep shot, went down the leg side. Dot ball.
Do you want to do the next one?
No, you do it. I'll panic.
57 without loss, then 98 needed from 89. What a start for Australia.
It's been a good start from Australia, but an average start for Sri Lanka as well.
That was the worst ball I think I've ever seen. 57 without loss. As this, that might be rivaling it. It's a sort of half tracker down the leg side. It's not put away. And I should add that I have played cricket with Simon Mann, so there is quite the sample size to choose from. He's still complaining about when I gave him out, when he middled it through to the keeper. What makes me laugh about that delivery we just saw, apart from the obvious, in comes Theekshana, driven into the ground. Frustration from Warner as it goes straight to the cover fielder, and there is no run as Hasaranga picks up. It's the sort of one where, when it happens in a women's international, you and I, who cover a lot of women's cricket, will get inundated with things saying, "See, it's rubbish."
Yes. Yes.
In comes Theekshana. This is hit away in the air, but past the fielder and out towards the boundary for 4. It goes to the right of deep mid-wicket. The fielder, I thought, was so casual that wide mid-on that surely there was a fielder behind him, but no, it was just in such a big gap that Warner was always going to get 4 for it.
It was beautifully picked up as well. Warner going right back into his crease and thumping that through the onside, past mid-on. That deep mid-wicket, absolutely nowhere near it either.
It's just not going quite how Sri Lanka wanted it to. 93 needed from 86. In comes Theekshana again. This is pushed into the offside. Good move in the crease from Warner. Pushes into the offside, and there is 1 run taken. We got a ball left of the power play. 63 without loss. Anything to add?
You were looking at me there like...
I mean, there wasn't much to add. It was a single.
Yeah. You've thrown me right under the bus there, you know. And you think, oh yeah, it was brilliantly played.
This is, striking the pad, and Aaron Finch is looking a little nervous, but Aleem Dar has no interest, and he perhaps was going down the leg side. It may not have been nerves on Aaron Finch's face, other than more disgust at the nature of the appeal, with the ball actually on reflection looking like it might have been missing by quite some distance. So end of the power play, and what a power play it's been for Australia. 63 without loss is the score, Alex Hartley. How do Sri Lanka get back in the game from here?
Well, they've got to take wickets, haven't they? Australia, they've taken full advantage of this power play. Only 2 fielders outside the 30-yard fielding circle, but they haven't bowled well. There's been some really good deliveries amongst some really average ones. You know, Finch's first ball short wide outside the off stump, he was able to clatter it through the offside for 4. Warner being dropped behind from the keeper. A really simple catch for the keeper as well. Some good cricket from Australia, but some average cricket from Sri Lanka as well, which has helped Australia get 63 for none after 6 overs.
Yeah, brilliant start. We're going to see Hasaranga having a bowl after umpire Illingworth has drawn a big circle in the sky to tell us that we're out of the power play. And so Warner, without the cap, looking like he might have cut his own hair.
Have you been to the same hairdresser?
92 needed from 84. In comes Hasaranga. And Warner whips the ball away, out into the vacant space for 4 runs on the leg side. It was whacked away with quite some force. And Warner, deep in the crease, finds that gap for another boundary.
Well, Warner, there was a lot of talk of him being out of form. He played that reverse sweep for 4. He's pulled that into the onside. He's absolutely nailed it straight out the middle of the bat, and it races to the boundary.
Hasaranga in again. This is played into the leg side. Warner wants a quick single, pushes hard for the first, calls yes for the second, and that's good running, because I would argue in Sri Lanka's innings, those were the ones that weren't coming back for 2, and it could make a big difference.
It could, and if you're struggling to find the boundary, you always want to knock the ball into the pockets and try and run 2. But Sri Lanka, they were happy just nailing the fielders, taking 1. But what really put a halt to Sri Lanka's innings was the loss of consistent wickets.
The leg spin of Hasaranga continues. Worked into the leg side once more from Warner. No is the cry on this occasion, so there won't be another 2. It'll just be 1 more onto the score. 70 without loss midway through the 7th over. 85 needed from 81 deliveries.
So Sri Lanka had 3 batters all getting mid-30s. Had one of those batters gone on and got 50, Sri Lanka's score would have quite easily been up around 170, which makes a huge difference.
Deep in the crease, Finch plays the ball behind square, says yes first of all, and then gets a shout from David Warner at the other end to say nothing doing. And so, dot ball.
They do try and run each other out, these 2, don't they?
They give it a red hot go. Hasaranga bowls. Oh, bowls! Played on. Aaron Finch goes. Departs for 37. Hasaranga gets through, and he tried to play it late. It got a bottom edge and hit leg stump. Sri Lanka flags flying, and the first wicket falls.
Well, that's the 2nd time in this tournament Aaron Finch has chopped on. He chopped on against South Africa, and he's done the same today against Sri Lanka. The ball outside the off stump, he's looking to muscle it through the offside. The ball just not getting up as much as he would have wanted. The bottom edge into the floor, onto the stumps. And Aaron Finch is absolutely furious.
Yeah, he was shouting something about a frog or something. 70 for 1 is the score. 1 ball left of the 7th over. And Finch goes for 37. And that is an important breakthrough, because Finch, 37 from 23, had looked in excellent touch. Warner is at the other end playing nicely on 32 from 19, and here comes Glenn Maxwell.
Glenn Maxwell actually due to come in on the scorecard at 4, but he plays this role for RCB as well in the IPL. Once the power play is over, he goes in no matter what the situation, but he doesn't go in during the power play.
Do you know why that is?
Don't fancy it.
Hasaranga in to bowl to Maxwell, and he gets in a bit of a tangle. It comes off the inside half of the bat, and 3 dot balls and a wicket at the back end of the innings. Suddenly, this feels like a little bit of a different game, Alex Hartley. Thank you to you for the time being. Alex, World Cup winner, part of our commentary team. We've also, very pleased to say, got former Australian international Stuart Law alongside us. And what have you made of this start? You've been enjoying this stroke play.
Well, one thing that is notable, the intent from both Australian openers in this power play was exceptional. It was lacking, I think, the other day. They only chasing a smaller total, 125. They thought, let's just get in, tick it over, score the runs when we can, and they got themselves in a bit of trouble. They've gone about it the right way. They're trying to get that run rate needed down to a run of ball as quick as they can. They now currently need 85 off 78. They still need to tick it over.
Theekshana is into bowl to Warner, who wants a single that's not there. So he comes in, that's another dot ball, just trying to eke that equation the way of Sri Lanka and grow that required run rate that has had such a large chunk taken out of it by the start that Australia have had.
Yeah, I think Sri Lankas, they went with the new ball.
Warner forward in defence and no run.
With the new ball, they went too quickly to pace off, slower balls, whether it be the leg cutter, off cutter, knuckle balls. Instead of using what's on the surface, there's a bit of grass on that pitch. We saw the new ball for the Aussies seam about a little bit. The quicks didn't quite get their length right.
21-year-old Shana bowls to Warner, who hits the ball into the leg side and hits it for 4. Finds the gap between deep mid-wicket and wide long on, and Warner again finds that gap and finds the boundary. 74 for 1, 81 needed from 75.
It's a pretty good length to most other batsmen, but Warner being a little shorter in stature than most, sits deep, gets that length, and then just pulls it beautifully into the gap out of deep mid-wicket, splits mid-on, and deep mid-wicket.
Theekshana is in, Warner pushing the ball into the offside this time. Fielder at backward point will run round to collect, and it'll just be the 1. 75 for 1 is the score. And
interesting that they've sent kept Mitch Marsh in the shed and sent Glenn Maxwell out, but Glenn Maxwell does absolutely love playing against spin. He loves murdering it. He can come out and try and... He'll be looking to attack. He'll be looking to hit sixes, play his game, the reverse sweeps, etc. Reduce the threat against the spin. And then when the seamers come back into it in the back end, that's when Stoinis, Mitch Marsh, etc.
Deep in the crease, Maxwell plays the ball back to the bowler. And he's had a funny time of it playing in these conditions in the Indian Premier League in recent times. Was with Kings 11 Punjab as they were, and went a number of years without even hitting a 6. It was a really weird stat. Moved to RCB and has had a really good time of it. So he's been a decent touch in these conditions, and that is just short of a length and clipped into the leg side for 1. So Maxwell gets a first run. 8 overs gone. It's 76 for 1.
Yeah, and that can just be a change of role, being clear with the role, and rather than just saying, right, you bat here and you go and try and hit as many sixes as you can. It doesn't quite work like that. RCB looked like he had a clear plan, clear role every time he walked out, and he really excelled, scored a lot of runs.
Alex is back with us. Go on.
Virat Kohli actually messaged Glenn saying, come play for us. I want to open the batting and I want you to bat at 3, but outside the power play, whenever spin comes on, I want you to really take advantage of that. You've got free rein, play the role you want, and let's get you into a bit of form.
Thank you very much, Alex. And I know you know Glenn Maxwell very well from his time at Lancashire, and that's a really interesting insight. And if you get the call from Virat Kohli, you're probably going to say yes, I think.
Yeah, pretty hard to turn the big man down, isn't it?
I think it probably is. Hasaranga is continuing, and that's nicely played. He goes for the reverse. He clears the infield, does Maxwell, and it heads down to the sort of conventionally deep backward point boundary, but if you like, it's sort of behind square on the leg side once he's in that position, if you see what I mean. It's 80 for 1.
Yeah, if you're left-handed, that's deep backward square, but Glenn Maxwell, he just changes his body around. It's so natural to him. he hits that like a cover drive. Amazing shot, great skill. I wouldn't be surprised till we see him do that throughout the tournament, but start hitting sixes with it as well.
He's a sort of player that if he gets going in the tournament, he could be a tournament winner for you.
He's a freak. Yeah, he can win a game from nowhere, and that's why he should be in. I believe every team that Australia puts out, whether it be any format.
Really,
he should play every format. He's such a match winner.
He's on strike now. Plays the ball cautiously, firmly back towards bowler. Comfortable that it was there to be hit, and he's had chances in Test cricket.
He has, yeah. There's probably a bit too many constraints around the way he has to play. Just treat him like Andrew Simons. Andrew Simons was a match winner.
Hasaranga in. Maxwell goes into the leg side, out towards deep mid-wicket. Fielder underneath it will take the catch. Well, we bigged him up, but he holds out, and Australia lose a second wicket. It's a long boundary out there. I thought he'd got enough, but no. And they're 80 for 2. Maxwell goes for 5.
Yeah, Theekshana only got 1 over left. Hasaranga into his second over here now, and he's the massive threat. Maxwell trying to take him on for the 6 over the long part of the boundary. It looks, we can't really tell here sitting in the studio, but Hasaranga leg spinner on the stump, so it's probably in Maxwell's slot. He just didn't get it clean enough, and simple catch out on the boundary.
And a big wicket, because as we say, Maxwell's a dangerous player when he gets going, and it's not disastrous by any stretch of the imagination for Australia. You look down the card, they got Mitch Marsh, Steve Smith, Marcus Stoinis, Matthew Wade. These are guys that have all opened the batting for significant T20 franchise sides and could comfortably be anywhere in that top order. It is Smith that heads to the middle. Has there been a little conversation perhaps about his role in this side, Steve Smith?
I'm sure there would have been, but in these conditions, and the threat, as I said before, the threat now is Hasaranga. You want your best player of spin to face as many of those balls as you can, and Steve Smith is by far Australia's best player of spin. So yeah, there has been talk about him moving out. His strike rate isn't as big as it should be, as high as it should be.
Warner works the ball into space on the leg side to get another single. He's making it look very easy out there, is David Warner. 81 for 2, target 155.
Yeah, he's not in form, is he, Davey Warner? He's had a bit of luck early on, but he's a man for the big occasion. He loves the stage that he's on, and he's hitting the ball beautifully tonight. But we saw Glenn Maxwell there, just got the toe end of the bat. If he had got anywhere near the middle, it was 6.
He's had a funny few weeks, David Warner, with his IPL responsibilities. He was the key component for years for the Sunrisers, and then suddenly midway through the resumption of the tournament just jettisoned, and that was it. In comes Hasaranga again to bowl to Steve Smith, who's forward defending. And Warner, there were restrictions on how many members of playing staff you could have at each ground because of COVID regulations, so he was actually watching a lot of the games from the hotel. That was how far away he was from the setup. In comes Hasaranga to bowl to Smith. It's full, clipped away for the former Test captain's first run up towards wide long on, single added. So 73 needed from 66 balls at the end of the 9th over. So there is an argument to say, I suppose, that actually a little bit of a break from the madness of the treadmill of T20 cricket for Warner may not be the worst thing.
No, true. And I was on here on Saturday. Isha Gur was with us, and she revealed the stat. Girls are great with their stats. She revealed the stat that between April and the start of this tournament, Warner had only faced 14 balls.
No.
in proper cricket in that time. And that's why everyone had this concern. His form, he's got no form. But, I was told by a sports site years and years ago that there's no such thing as form. You can't be in form or out of form. There's no such thing. Skill doesn't leave your body. It's always in there. It's just it's a mindset. It's how you prepare. It's how you turn up each day. And, Davey's turned up, mean in business today.
Kumara, having conceded 20 in his first over, moves in and bowls to Smith, who plays that extraordinary shot into the leg side where the bat, having made contact with the ball, then sort of helicopters round, and a single is taken. 83 for 2. It was something that the England opener Tammy Beaumont was saying, that she's been taught to forget the idea of form because She knows she's got the skills, and the minute that you add another element to the challenge of being good, i.e., oh, I'm not in good form, therefore I can't possibly do well, actually just, you've got the skills.
That's right. Start using them, yeah. It was amazing. We used to talk about a lot. You're in form, you're out of form.
This is on the stumps as Warner pushes the ball into the offside. Throw comes in at the non-striker's end. And
this sports psych said to us, I've never heard such a big a load of rubbish in my whole life.
That's interesting.
I go, what do you mean? Form, yeah, I'm not hitting them really well. But you've still got the same skill in your body. Yeah. There's no such thing as form. It's all skill and skill acquisition and using it at the right time, attitude and energy.
Alex Hartley is currently sort of doing a good impression of a television salesperson. In comes Kumara, bowls to Smith. It's a full toss, which is pushed through the offside, delicately threads the needle for 4 runs. It beats the dive of the fielder at extra cover, and he finds that gap for a boundary, 88 for 2.
Yeah, Kumara changing his pace, that big slower ball, loopy full toss in the end. Smith checked his shot, but got in the middle of the bat on it. Went aerial, ever so close to that short cover, but pierced the gap. Once it finds a gap here in Dubai, that outfield is lightning quick. So, first boundary for Smith.
More on Alex and her antics in a moment, as in comes Kumara. This is played into the ground this time. Again, beats the fielder at cover, but there is protection in the deep to stop the boundary. A fumble allows the second run. And that sort of tells the story of this innings in the field for Sri Lanka. 90 for 2, 65 needed from 62. The issue is one of our tellies started doing the countdown of doom, where it says it's going to turn itself off after 30 seconds. And she was picking up every controller she could find all across the room, as if she was trying to demonstrate some special feature and couldn't quite work out which one it was. But eventually we've got this. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, I thought we were encouraged there.
In comes Kumara. Pace taken off the ball, nicely timed from Smith out towards deep cover. Good cry of no as the throw comes in. That's a good decision. There's a roar of delight for some reason. I have seen plenty of images on the big screen of a young Australia fan in a Hawthorn AFL jersey. And it's nice to see. There's not huge numbers. There were never going to be huge numbers of travelling fans at this tournament, but it is nice to see a few making and being able to make the journey. In comes Kumara, bowling to Warner, whacks that ball into the leg side and for 4. Out through mid-wicket, and it's been a pretty gruesome spell so far from Lahiru Kumara, who's gone for 33 from 2 overs, and now it is a runner ball for Australia. 60 needed from 60, 95 for 2 is the score. Warner has 43 from 26. Talk us through that shot and the innings so far, and then Stuart, it'll be Simon Mann alongside you.
Yeah, Kumara, as I said earlier, the Sri Lankan quicks have really, I think they missed the trick up front early. They didn't use that new ball. They bowled a spinner second over, but they pace off the ball too quickly, slower balls, instead of just hitting the pitch hard on that seam and just letting the ball do the work or the pitch do the work for the bowlers. But Australia also haven't allowed them to settle, and they've come out absolutely smoking them all over the ground. And we saw Finch and Warner start off like a tracer bullet. Steve Smith's just starting to come in and just finding his gaps, but Davey Warner's pushing on and looking really threatening.
Mickey's out there during the drinks break, having a chat with the captain, pointing things out. And he's quite firm with the points he makes to Dasun Shanaka, pointing right where the field placings are. Shanaka seems happy enough, just pats Mickey on the back, says, yeah, thanks, coach, that works for me. And then now Mickey's joined the huddle as well. This is going Australia's way. I think when Sri Lanka put those runs on the board, 154 for 6, I think they felt that they could squeeze Australia. They could make it difficult for them, but Australia got away at the top, 43 off the first 4 overs, and they've just not really been able to create enough pressure since then. Justin Lang is out there as well. He's wandered out to have a chat with his 2 batters. Australia in control at the moment. They are heading for 2 from 2, joining England at the top of the group before the big meeting. The old rivals on Saturday game. I think everyone's looking forward to. Not quite perhaps as much as India, Pakistan, but it certainly does have a frisson like that game on Saturday, and we're bringing the match on 5 Live Sports Extra and ABC Radio as well.
No, definitely looking forward to that one. That's a big game. England playing superb cricket at the moment. Look like walkover wins in the first 2 games, and confidence sky high. If Australia get through on this one, their confidence will be building as well. Probably not as high as England's because of their first up match with South Africa, but if they convincingly win this, they'll go into that one feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, and at the moment they're well on course. It can go wrong from here, but you feel it shouldn't. 95 for 2 from 10 overs. They need 60 to win from the last 10 with 8 wickets in hand. And the problem for Sri Lanka, and Hasaranga's taken 2 for 13 from 2 overs, he's going to bowl. The problem is they're not. How do they make Australia desperate to score? They don't. It's easy for them to knock it around and just tick the board over. They don't have to take too many risks. Here is Hasaranga then, into bowl to Smith, and Smith eases the ball up towards long on for a single.
Well, I said before, Hasaranga's now the threat. Justin Langer would be saying to the boys, just take his next 2 overs, take a runner ball, take a single. If he bowls you a bad ball, put it away. But don't go looking for anything else. Don't give him a wicket. Don't open the door. And we'll score the runs off the others.
59 from 59 balls Australia require. Hasaranga bowls to Warner, who's taken his helmet and cap off now. Warm out there, clips it away towards deep mid wicket, and they get a single. And this is exactly what Australia need to do. I'm sure the coach would have said that. I mean, you've been in this position, Stuart, as a coach, to say, look, this is what you do. I suppose sometimes they don't always listen to you, mind, but
whether they do listen or not. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that the coach does have a massive say in what happens on the field.
Here's Hasaranga bowling to Smith, who covers up and plays it defensively back to the bowler. But these two, they play enough cricket to work it out for themselves.
Senior players run the team.
They don't need the coach to tell
That's
them, do
right. Senior players run the team at this level. You sit back and you offer advice and let them go out and play the way they want to play.
Smith bends at the knees, Hasaranga bowls to him. Smith strokes it away into the offside, looking for a single. He can't get it, hits it straight at Shanaka. Covered, a bit frustrated with that, Smith. Smith 10 from 9. Australia 97 for 2, but Hasaranga's only got 8 balls left. Smith fidgeting, faces Hasaranga, nudges that into the leg side, straight to mid-wicket, and there's no run. Roar from the Sri Lanka supporters because they feel that Hasaranga's got a... checking no ball here.
No ball, Richard.
Oh, it's a no ball. Well, that really undoes Hasaranga's work in this over. 2 from 5 balls. He's so frustrated. He just drops the ball in frustration himself for overstepping the line. It was a free hit.
It's a cardinal sin, is it, from a spinner?
It's bad. It rather sums up Sri Lanka in the field. Hasaranga bowls the free hit delivery, and Smith drives towards deep cover as if it was just a normal delivery, actually. Takes the single. 99 for 2. Seeing the replay on that, it's quite a tight call. I mean, I've seen those, if you take a wicket with the foot in that position in a test match, sometimes the umpire will say, just give the benefit of the doubt to the bowler, but anyway, decided it was a no ball. Last ball the over coming up. Hasaranga bowls to Warner. Warner nudges it back with a square on the onside. And you could clearly see Australia's approach in that over from these 2 experienced players. Hasaranga's a threat. He's got 2 overs left. We'll nudge and knock him around, pick up what we can. And in that over, they got 5 thanks to no ball as well. That'll do. They needed 6 and over, and he's only got 1 over left. He's taken 2 for 18. Australia 100 for 2 from 11 overs. They need 55 to win from 54 balls.
Yeah, and both spinners with an over each. So that's 2. So there's 7 overs of other bowlers, medium pacers, fast bowlers that Australia be looking to really attack.
Chameera's got 2 overs left. Kumara's got 2 overs left. Karunaratne's got 3 overs left. But they've used, Stuart's saying, 6 of their 8 spin overs, their main spin overs. And here it is, Theekshana now to bowl his final over. 3 overs for 19. Well, they need a double wicket over here, you feel, Sri Lanka. Warner on 45. Shanaka bowls to him, slapped away a short ball out towards deep mid-wicket, and it's gone for 4. Fielder away to his right-hand side, trying to stop it, knock it back inside the rope. Did not get there, and that was ruthless from Warner. Fraction short, he was onto it, pulling it through mid-wicket. bang, away it went to the boundary.
Warner's gap hitting's been exceptional tonight, even off the back foot from the spinners. You know, pull shots never going straight to the field or on the boundary. Always finding that gap and going for 4. That's not a man out of form, that.
Exactly. Although he was dropped on 18, wasn't he? I mean, that.
Well, yeah.
He did have that. I mean, it was one of those that you'd expect a wicketkeeper to catch every single time. It wasn't even a 9 out of 10 one. It was a really 100 out of 100 one. Shout for LBW from Theekshana bowling round the wicket to when it was going down the leg side with the angle. Nothing particularly convincing about that appeal. It didn't convince the umpire.
Keepers shouldn't be dropping those. They've got a big set of gloves on. Shouldn't be dropping any catch.
It was a remarkable drop, really, from Kusal Perera. It was just a straightforward take down the leg side from a glove through, but put it down. Theekshana bowls to Warner, guided away by Warner on the back foot towards deep point. Hasaranga is there, sending in the return to the non-striker's end to keep Warner back in his crease. Warner was tiptoeing up the pitch looking for 2. There's 50 for David Warner. Well, he's not an easy man to keep down. He said he's not out of form. How can you say I'm out of form? I've hardly played, he said. 50 off 31 balls. 105 for 2, midway through the 12th.
Fine knock from Davey Warner. He's looking to finish this off.
155 to win. 50 more. Australia require. Run a ball. Smith faces Theekshana. Smith eases it again down the ground for a single. He knows the score here.
Come on, mate. Come on, mate.
106 for 2. 49 to win. I wonder if we're going to get those really tight contests that we all love in T20 cricket on Saturday when England play against Australia. They've been a bit thin on the ground so far. Theekshana bowls. Warner nudges backward a square. Diving effort to save it. Short fine leg is partially successful. And Warner is looking to come back for 3 there. You don't get many 3s outside the power play in T20 cricket. And just put the brakes on at the last moment. Rajapaksa dived away to his left-hand side and got something of it and had to chase after it towards the boundary. Warner was looking to pinch a cheeky 3, decided against it. 2 more to him. 47 to win, it's 108 for 2. Last ball of the 12th coming up. There's a look round the field. Batting bareheaded. Theekshana bowls to him. Warner drives. Well stopped at extra cover.
Yeah.
Short extra cover. Good piece of fielding by the skipper. Shanaka away to his left. That's well hit by Warner. No run off the final ball of the over, but Theekshana's finished now. 4 overs to 27. And Australia 108 for 2. 47 runs away from victory with 8 overs left.
Yeah, under runner ball now for Australia. Only 2 wickets down in total control. Davey Warner now on 52 not out. For me, I'd like to see him finish not out at the end of the innings, finish this game, bring the team home, and that'd be one way to repay, the faith and to give it to the people who think he's out of form and shouldn't be, playing the game, etc. So, look, he's been a wonderful performer, great character for the Australian team over a number of years. His run scoring's been outstanding, and finish it off now with a not out. Look forward to England on Saturday.
Hasaranga bowls to Smith. Smith goes back, knocks it back with a square on the onside, takes the single. He's scoring a runner ball. Steve Smith, 109 for 2, 13 from 13. So I'm going to ask the same question to you, Stuart, as I asked to Alex. How many runs is Warner going to score in the Ashes? 5 test matches.
Yeah.
Saranga bowls to him. Warner drives up towards wide long off. He takes the single.
I think over the last couple of months he's had a bit of time off, so look out. He's looked tonight, just looking in his eyes. I saw it the other night too when I was watching, or the other day when I was watching. He's got that determination in those eyes, and when he has that look on his face, look out.
Saranga to Smith. Smith tries to guide it into the offside ball, coming back into him. Hits it back down the pitch and there's no run. Well, Warner, talking about the runs he scored in his international career, he's around about the 15,000 run mark, which is not bad, is it? 15,000 international runs. Hasaranga bowls. Smith drives, square with the wicket on the offside. It'll only be a single. 7,300 test runs, 5,500 one-day runs, and 2,000 Just over 2,300 T20 runs.
Simon, have you got his record in Australia?
I don't want to read that out.
Because it's
I know, it's phenomenal, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. It really is.
I don't want to scare our UK listeners. It's Hasaranga bowling short to Warner, who pulls it away, forward to square on the side. One more run to the total. They'll have sleepless nights, as it is, Stuart, when it comes round the Ashes. I don't want to give them to them now.
There's a couple I remember, a couple of series, I think one against India, one against South Africa, where he just couldn't stop scoring runs.
Smith pushes forward to Hasaranga there. Hasaranga's final ball. Smith saying, right, that's you done. I'll just push that for a single if I can into the offside. If I can't, I'll just finish his spell for you. 2 for 22 from Hasaranga from his 4. Australia 112 for 2. 7 overs left to score 43 runs. Warner 54, Smith 14. We were in New Zealand as well because we made that 100 against Pakistan. And we were trying to work out whether he was going to go for the world records. I mean, Australia won the game well within the distance, didn't they? And they could have let him go on for the world record.
Yeah, they could have, but
it didn't make sort of sense in the context of the game. The declaration made sense, or
I don't think they would have been able to live it down if they didn't get the result. It's not about personal glory. It's about winning games.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like it was about personal glory when Brian Lara broke the world record, because I was there for that. Actually batted into a third day.
Well, there was smarts from the West Indies, because the Antigua recreational ground was the flattest pitch in the world.
It certainly was. Here is Chameera bowling, full to Warner, dug out into the offside. To the right of Shanaka, the captain, can't prevent the single. Well, in that match, those of you might remember it, West Indies were 3-0 down in the series to England. I mean, it was the party time for England. They'd never done, I say never done that. It's so long since they'd gone to West Indies have been successful. They were 3-0 up, and it was like, we're not going to be
4-0.
We're not going to be 4-0. They made the flattest pitch imaginable, and the game did finish in a draw. England actually followed on in that match, but they scored a lot of runs in their second innings and managed to bat out the game.
Yeah.
So it did finish 3-0. Short from Chameera, swatted away by Smith towards deep backward square leg. Another run to the total. All Australia are doing, or have been doing in the last 10 minutes or so, is ticking the board over. 41 to win from 40 balls. Warner to 55. Smith there on 15. Anyone who was there at the Antigua Recreation Ground or following from home, watching on television, it just felt like the most inevitable world record ever. Mara, even relatively early on in his innings, it's like he's going for it again. I think he's going to get it. Chameera bowls, Warner pulls towards deep mid wicket, and he's found the gap again. He's hit it for 4. And that pull shot, that low pull he's played really well. He's played that shot this evening. Australia 118 for 2, closing in on Sri Lanka's 154 for 6.
I love the story of his 500 for Warwickshire against Durham. I think it's dropped. I forget the score he was on. He'll probably go on to get 100. Yeah. 500.
I think he was on about 30, was he? Something like that. Some people out there listening will know.
Yeah.
Who was it? Chris Scott, was it, the wicket keeper?
Could have been, yeah. Yeah, probably get 100. Oh dear.
118 for 2.
What a talent he was.
Midway through the 14th over. Chameera bowling to Warner. Warner hammers this through the offside in the air. Flashing shot. 4 more. Towards the wide long off boundary. A little shake of the head from Chameera. Oh, this is classic Warner. 63 from 38 balls. I'm just trying to do the maths. Has he got time to get 100 here? 33 to win. He's hit that in the air just to the left of Shanaka, but he hit it so firmly. There's no chance for Sri Lanka's captain.
It's been smart cricket from Australia to negate the threat, attack your strengths, which is against pace. Australia have done it beautifully.
They have. They've played this really well. 33 more needed. It's a full toss outside the off stump from Chameera to Warner, who doesn't make decent contact, miscues it into the offside, but still picks up a single. 123 for 2. Australia with bags of time to win this match. 6 overs left after this one. Target of a 155. And this group is beginning to take shape, and whoever wins on Saturday, I think, will be pretty confident of making the semi-finals. I think.
Yep, I'd definitely say if you've got 3 from 3, you're going pretty good.
Yeah, and we don't know whether they will need 3. 3 will be enough. 3 with a good net run rate might be enough. Warner's on 64, Smith's on 15. Make that 16 as he gets a short ball from Chameera and swats it away out towards deep mid-wicket. So Warner needs 36 and Australia need 31. So it's mathematically possible if the scores were level, he hit the last ball for 6 or the winning run for 6. But Smith will probably score a few between now and then, unless Warner just really cuts loose. And Australia, yeah, 31 more needed from the last 6 overs. Great position to be in.
Definitely is, you know. Yeah, we talked about the total. If Sri Lanka could get early wickets, I said they didn't. I don't think they bowled as well as they could have done up front. You know, spin was going to be a threat. They negated that because they really were aggressive against the fast bowlers, and you know, Sri Lanka haven't had any answers. The drop catch proves costly once again.
Warner was dropped on 18. It was 43 for no wicket after 4 overs. They'd made a big statement that, I mean, you knew that Australian openers were going to come at you hard, and there were just too many loose balls early on. There was that 1 over that was 2 short balls outside the off stump. Finch was away with 2 boundaries. Now Shanaka is into the attack. There's right arm medium fast bowling and looking to pinch 2 as well. Shanaka's after it towards the edge of the circle as it's knocked into the leg side. And they decide against it in the end. Smith and Warner batting together. So just a single, 125 for 2.
You know, the one thing that Sri Lanka can do now, it's less than a run a ball. Bring the field in. You know, bring it in, squeeze, particularly Smith. Maybe not so Warner, but get Smith on strike. Try and create dot balls. Dot balls brings pressure. They've got to do something. They can't just let the game meander into, you know, oblivion now. Australia don't have to break a sweat to win the game.
125 for 2. Shanaka now to Warner. Warner chops that down towards deep third. Theekshana's there, sends in the return. You say that Australia don't have to break sweat. If you look at Warner's shirt, I don't think I've ever seen a sweatier man. It's sticking to him, his shirt, but he'll be very happy inside that shirt with what he's achieved this evening. Another international half century for David Warner. 126 for 2 in the 15th over. 29 more required. Shanaka bowls. Smith pushes into the onside, calls immediately for 2, and this time they get it as well. Really making it tough for the fielding side. 27 to win now. 2 more to Smith. 128 for 2, and it looks as if we're going to have another game where the side batting second has won. Both sides wanted to bat second tonight. We saw that game yesterday, England-Bangladesh, where Bangladesh wanted to bat first, England wanted to bat second. It didn't work out for Bangladesh, didn't get enough runs. Unable to put any pressure on England at all. Shanaka bowls off stump. Smith works it into the onside towards long on. And then takes the single. Australia 129 for 2. Lack of tension out there, it feels.
Yeah.
Alex Hartley with me now.
I would love Sri Lanka to try and find a way to get a mid-wicket in and try and, you know, stop the easy singles. It's just so easy at the minute for Australia to rotate the strike, hit the ball into the pocket for 2.
Warner waits. Shanaka bowls to him. Short, slower ball. Warner nonchalantly lets that go. They just say, "Oh no, I'm not going to bother that one."
Well, when you're in good nick, you're in front of the run rate in 26 off 31 balls needed. You can afford to do that.
Did Warner think that should have been called a wide?
No. He was asking if that's the one for the over, but it's not one for the over because it was a slow ball bouncer that barely got above his shoulder.
It was an odd one. He just ignored it. Shanaka bowls, and that one is another short, slower ball into the surface. That one is called wide. Warner left it, and I think that time he judged it. He thought, yeah, that is going to be a wide delivery. 25 to win from 31 balls. Just trying to catch what he's saying out there.
It's so slow, I don't know where to hit it.
Well, it certainly didn't the ball before, did it? It completely bemused him. He's a bloke who's 60-odd not out. He's smacking it everywhere. Short, slower ball into the pitch, and you just let it go by. Shanaka bowls to Warner, and Warner doesn't know where to hit this, out towards the long off boundary, but he's going to be caught. He's caught in the deep. Rajapaksa going away to his right-hand side. Warner's out for 65. I don't think it's going to affect the outcome of the game. Sri Lanka pick up their third wicket though. Warner is on his way, took on Shanaka. Frustration on his face, but 65 from 42 with the run that he's had of late. He'll be happy and relieved, I think, this evening.
He will indeed. Looking to go up and over extra cover. He holds the pose, but he doesn't quite get it over extra cover. It goes out towards the long off boundary. And a decent catch taken in the deep, but quite a straightforward one. Frustration for Warner, as he feels he probably could have hit that anywhere he wanted. It was right where he was fancying it, but he's done his job. He was dropped on 18 by the wicketkeeper, which has proved absolutely crucial for Sri Lanka.
Warner walks off, and I imagine he's heading for a cold shower as well.
Get himself in the ice bath, cool down.
Is it ice bath first and the shower? I suppose that's the logical way to do it, isn't it?
Oh, but then if you don't shower before all your teammates then get in the ice bath and you
actually,
share it.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
Yeah.
You do need the shower first, don't you? Right, Stoinis is out there, and Henry's going to pick up the commentary. Commentary from Henry Moran to the end of this game, with Australia needing only 25 to win from the last 5 overs.
I've never been in an ice bath.
It's not pleasant.
No.
But I really enjoy them when you're in the subcontinent and you're in a place like Dubai and it's really hot and you get in and it's cool. But when you're forced to ice bath as a player when you're playing in England and you've got hand warmers in your pockets, it doesn't quite have the same effect.
No, I can imagine not. We've got Marcus Stoinis in the middle, who comes into bat at 5, opens the batting for the Melbourne Stars in the Big Bash League. He's played for the Capitals in the IPL and is a destructive force in T20 cricket. Steve Smith is on strike though, as Karunaratne comes in. 25 further runs needed. That'll help. Round the corner it goes, out towards the fielder in the deep. Throw comes in.
Henry, I can tell
Nissanka,
you. I can tell you a ice bath story of my days at Lancashire.
Go on.
We stood in the ice bath. Well, it was an ice bath. We stood in the field all day, day one, and the S&C, a new guy trying to make an impression. Come on, everybody in the ice bath. I looked at him. It was 4 degrees all day.
That sounds entirely plausible.
I said, Alex, mate, with all love and due and respect, I'm not getting in the ice bath. I've just stood in one all day. So I went and grabbed a beer from the fridge, took the top off, sat in the sauna. We had a sauna in the dressing room at the time. Finished my beer, thawed out, and about half an hour later came out again.
You see, you were so committed to making sure your muscles didn't overheat that you signed for Lancashire. 24 needed from 29 balls. As this is pace taken off it, and Stoinis defends, holds the pose, smiles, and once again chews that gum.
I'm just mind blown. There was a sauna. There's no sauna there anymore, I can tell you that for free.
That might have been why they took it out, because we never got in the ice bath. We always got in the sauna. Myself and Marcus North, that was.
So the Australian contingent, used to the hot conditions. Fair enough. It was up there, only 3.5 seconds before that catch was taken. This is hit away in the air, but through the gap. Stoinis gets a boundary. Applause from Justin Lange. Those piercing blue eyes watching an Australian performance that has been pretty dominant in this run chase. They need 20 from 27.
It has indeed. They've won this game with the 2 opening batters, Finch and Warner, just setting such a brilliant platform. You know, they really took advantage of that power play. 63 for none after the power play. And just pipped Sri Lanka's 53 for 1.
Stoinis drives. That's a nice looking shot. Handsome push with a straight bat as far as wide mid-off. 20 needed from 27. 19 actually, I should say, now from 26. It's 136 for 3. It's just not gone the way we thought it would this second innings.
It's not. I really thought the Sri Lanka spinners would put the Australian middle order under a little bit of pressure, but they just haven't bowled well enough.
Their ultimate ball of the 16th over is short and watched sail away by Steve Smith. It's signalled wide.
Dismissed that was from Steve Smith. He just watched it go over his head and was like, that's a wide.
He was a bit, he was sort of like a plane spotter standing at the end of the runway at Heathrow. And there it goes. You know what I mean? 18 needed from 26. Smith is on strike, and that familiar tap of the pads, tap of the gloves, look around, sets himself. And in comes the next delivery, played into the offside. That's a lovely piece of timing from Steve Smith. There's going to be work to do for the fielder at deep cover. Sliding. A little tuft of dirt flies up as it is collected. And Karunaratne has seen the ball head that way quite a number of times in this innings. One ball left of his second over, and the score 139 for 3. Target 155. Smith has 23 at a run a ball, which is pretty much the job he did in the opening game against South Africa as well. He's kept things ticking over. Karunaratne in, long strides to bowl to Smith. Pace taken off it, outside edge. It's stopped at short third. Throw comes in and hits, but I think Stoinis is home. He set off quickly from the non-strikers end. The hesitation actually came from Smith. And though it was a good throw, it was at the wrong end. 140 for 3.
Yeah, past the stumps, I think, by the time the ball hit. As you say, the hesitation did come from Steve Smith, but Stoinis fast setting off, and he thought he was so far in, he nearly picked the ball up himself.
He was so quick setting off, and I think he was, well, we're running, Steve, I'm afraid. Get up the other end.
If there's going to be anyone that's run out, it's you.
So 15 from 24. The excitement from the Sri Lanka supporters we saw earlier on has been replaced by some rather glum looks in the stands. They had high expectations in this game, and their side have performed well in the competition, performed well in the first innings, but a blitz in those power play overs from Australia perhaps actually left those spin bowlers without enough to build pressure on.
Yeah, and Sri Lanka left a few runs out there as well. They collapsed after the power play.
17th over begins with Kumara bowling. This is driven away through cover. More work for the fielder in the deep to do, running round. A couple more runs will be taken. If they're quick, they're pushing hard for them. And was that 3? That's really good running. It's a quick outfield, and you think either the ball's going to get to the fielder quickly enough or the boundary. It'd be unusual for it to land somewhere where you could get 3, but it is 3 to start the over. That's really good running.
Really good running. It just shows the communication between these two. As soon as it came off the bat, they'll have said 3 and pushed it out to the extra cover pocket. And a fantastic bit of running between the wickets from Stoinis and Smith.
1-4-3 for 3. Just 12 further runs for victory. As David Warner is shown on the big screen, getting a pat on the back from a teammate. He's played the innings that has really broken the back of this run chase. 12 needed from 23. Stoinis, who never knowingly gets a shirt size too big, is on strike and waits for Lahiru and hits the ball into the ground. It goes out as far as extra cover. Throw comes in and misses at the non-striker's end.
He does furiously always chew gum, doesn't he?
Yes, very much so.
It's like he's mad, but then he's always like cool and chilled. Maybe he takes his anger out on the chewing.
Yeah, maybe it's just the jaw that has the...
That's why he's got such a strong jawline, I reckon. It's constantly being worked.
It's sort of, Alex Ferguson used to do that during games, and he'd chew gum furiously. In comes the hero once again. This is hit away into the leg side. That's a nice looking shot, and it's a fine shot. 6 runs. There was a fielder out there on the leg side, a wide long on, but Stoinis was just so powerful with the stroke. And gets 6, and just 6 further runs required now.
Such a good pick-up from Stoinis, that flick of the wrist as he makes contact with the ball, and it absolutely flies to the boundary, a flat 6. There was no hesitation there. He knew that was 6 all the way, 81 metres from Stoinis. Not a bad delivery, but a beautiful pick-up.
That really was hit hard. There's our friend again on the microphone.
what a great job. Just to annoy people all day.
'Have you considered it, Alex? 6 needed from 21. Lahiru into bowl. Again, a big swing from Stoinis. He doesn't get all of that, though. Runs out along the ground towards wide, long on, and Rajapaksa. So they're creeping ever closer, Australia, here. It's going to be a decent win in terms of their advancement of net run rate as well, which could prove significant.
Net run rate always proves significant in tournaments like this, because quite often or not, you'll get teams on the same amount of points. I mean, there's no danger of anything being rained out, I don't reckon.
You say this.
But you never know.
Lahiru bowls full delivery, which is pushed away into the offside, out to deep cover by Smith. It will just be the 1 run, so 4 further runs required. 1 ball left of the 17th over. I do remember there was a rainstorm when we were in Dubai once.
That's probably because they created it themselves. So, you know, we've not had any rain for 7 weeks. Let's turn on the cloud machine.
And it was quite dramatic. I was out shopping with daggers. And ebony, I think. 4 needed from 19 balls. This is hit away firmly from the bat of Stoinis, and that will do it. Through the offside, it goes to the left of mid-off. And a huge grin and embrace between Lanka and Wade in the dugout to acknowledge a really excellent Australia win. They've won by 7 wickets. We said at the halfway stage this wouldn't be an easy run chase. It's looked it, thanks to the efforts of Finch and Warner at the top of the order, doing so much damage. And Australia victorious.
Well, an easy win for Australia in the end. Just proves how crucial it is to have one player go on and get above 40 in T20 cricket. You know, Sri Lanka didn't have that. They had 3 people chipping in with mid-30s. Finch got 37, Warner dropped on 18, he went on to get a big score of 65, and from then on out it was just so easy for Australia.
Stuart Law is still with us, former Australia international, and if the win against South Africa was a little bit of a scramble over the line, this was a joyous leap and a romp home for victory, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you've seen 2 teams today, Australia playing well and Sri Lanka not quite at their best, and you know, that partnership in that first 6 overs in the chase between Warner and Finch was unbelievable. Yeah, there was a drop catch, yes, but you know, the credit to the batters, they absolutely found that, you know, the boundary at will. They rotated strike. If they weren't hitting runs, they were hitting boundaries. They were scoring 1s and 2s, and just a quality finish, quality game of cricket from Australia. I thought they fought back well when they were bowling as well. You know, Sri Lanka got off to a great start, and to fight back through a great spell from Adam Zampa, gained control and then came out and finished it off nicely.
Lots of elements to be satisfied for Australia. Zampa's bowling, 2 for 12 from 4 overs, first of all. That suggests that there's real control for Australia available in those middle overs.
Yeah, there is. You know, you can't get too excited. One game doesn't make a tournament either. It's just nice to build. You know, when you get a performance like this, you know, a scrappy win, a convincing win, sets the confidence level very high, and then you go into a game, must-win game again. Every game's a must-win game in this format at the moment, in this competition. The more games you win, the easier it is to get through. So, big game on Saturday.
It is a big game.
Can't wait
for you, England against Australia. Alex, David Warner, it's obviously we spoke about his lack of cricket in recent times, whether that would affect him, but 65 from 42, 10 fours, and it seemed, bar that 1 drop when he was on 18 that should have been taken, it was an innings of real discipline and control despite the acceleration that we saw.
It was, and even with that drop, the ball was going down the leg side and he's tried to hook it around the corner and managed just getting a glove on it. So, you know, he played the right shot. But the way he was timing the ball, and there was a lot of talk around him being out of so-called form going into this game today, and he said, well, hang on, I've hardly played cricket. And somebody like Warner, the class that he is, the amount of runs he's scored, the amount of cricket he's played, he's only 1 good knock, 1 good shot away from a big score like he's done today.
We've seen Steve Smith play 2 quite similar innings in this tournament, going at just above a strike rate of 100, but doing a really useful job as an anchor and a foil for the power hitters at the other end. And 28 from 26 not out today. that's a perfect innings, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can afford to do that when you've got the acceleration at the other end. And on his day, Smithy can put the foot down. He can go at better than a run a ball, but obviously his role is to maintain that control, don't lose wickets, take the threat away, the spin away from the Aussie batters, and set him up for an assault towards the end. And he's played it perfectly.
Marcus Stoinis as well, this role of finisher he's spoken about, wanting to be the best finisher in the world game when it comes to situations like this. Twice now he's come in and he's done exactly that, and that's what he's looking to do, and exactly what has been asked of him he has achieved. Right then, let's hear from the player of the match. We have the various sponsors to be introduced first of all, which is always what the audience look forward to. And we will, I imagine, be hearing from, it's Adam Zampa. It's not David Warner, it is Adam Zampa.
Adam Zampa of Australia, 4 overs, 2 for 12. Well done, Adam, well bowled. So, 2 for 12 on a pitch which looked pretty good for batting. What were you initially looking to do?
Sri Lanka got off to a bit of a flyer, so we needed to peg it back when we did. To be honest with you, I think it was quite slow in the first innings. It spun a little bit more than it did in the second innings. I think, if anything, the moisture, the dew took effect in the second innings.
You like bowling against Sri Lanka. I think that's now your top 3 bowling figures, best bowling figures, are against Sri Lankans. Tell us why.
There's nothing to it. I find them really challenging actually playing against Sri Lanka. Obviously, very good players to spin, but I bowled well tonight. I was glad that I could change the game when I did. But yeah, Sri Lanka have some really good players to spin as well.
Adam, with this bowling group, you don't mind where you bowl, where the skipper brings you on?
Well, I've tended to try and bowl a little bit of power play, a little bit towards the back end and in recent times, but I think with the team that we've got, with the big 3 quicks in the team, they'll probably bowl a lot of power play. We've obviously got Glenn Maxwell bowling a couple overs as well, and he's got a really good record in the power play. So my job at the moment is to try and get wickets through the middle and make it easier for the guys at the back end.
It was a close call for the player of the match. Your colleague David Warner, 65 off 42, but consensus was for taking 2 for 12 in 4 overs, a bowler should have got it. So you're putting your hand up for the Bowlers Union tonight.
Yeah, David played really well. It's really nice for those guys to get a bit of time in the middle. They've had a bit of pressure on them from the media and things like that, but Finchy played really well. Steve played really well, and so did Davey.
And you bowled very well. Well done.
Thanks.
4 overs, 2 for 12. Adam Zampa, player of the match. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Adam Zampa chatting to Alan Wilkins on the boundary edge. Alex, it's an often cited issue with Player of the Match awards that they always go to the batters. Well, today it's not gone that way.
The Spinners Union,
There
the
you
things
go.
I love to see. Honestly, the amount of times a spinner, not saying myself, has bowled really well in the first innings of a game or in a game, and it always goes to the batters.
Yeah, it's like they look down the scorecard. Well, there's the biggest number.
There we go, that'll do.
but what's nice to see, Stu, actually, is that was the phase of play where the game really shifted the momentum, because we saw this electric start from Sri Lanka and Zampa came on and all the momentum was taken away.
Oh yeah, we were sitting here talking about 180, 175, 180, plus. The way that the Sri Lankans got off to a great start, but that spell from Zampa, he just put the brakes on, and not only put the brakes on, but took crucial wickets as well. The best way to stop a team scoring runs is to take wickets. And they did that, and the quicks then backed him up, to come in and finish it off. They didn't leak easy runs. Every run Sri Lanka really had to fight for towards the back end, and as it proved, a manageable total to chase.
You mentioned Adam Zampa there, Alex, that there's been talk in the media about the batting and things. Tournament cricket, you were part of a World Cup winning side, but tournament cricket is a funny thing when you get that siege mentality within a dressing room. You maybe sense that people don't quite believe in you.
I mean, I'm a player that loves that. In 2017, we went in as underdogs to win that World Cup. Australia, India, probably favourites above us. And I think it puts you in a position where you've actually got nothing to lose. You can just go out, concentrate on yourselves, play your best cricket, and ultimately as a cricketer, you're always being criticised for something or other, and it's a good opportunity to prove the media and certain people wrong.
Is there an element of truth to the suggestion that there's sort of added pressure, and there has been some talk from the media about Australia's batting?
I think players do look at it more than they probably used to in days gone by. It's not just the media; it's the social media. It's the keyboard warrior who's out there who's played 100 tests and 1,000 one-day internationals and all the rest of it and scored hundreds against the greatest. Players will look at it. Whether they look at it in jest, if they look at it and take it seriously, I think that's probably the wrong way to look at it. But there is added pressure. Yeah. The one thing that you talk about when you're growing up and you want to play for your country, you want to represent the highest level you can, and when you get there, you're not playing just for your team. You're playing for yourself. You're playing for your mates back home. You're playing for your family. You're playing for everything that you believe in. Because believe me, if you don't do well, you go back to your mates saying you're not very good, are you? And that's the honesty that you like when you go back to keep you grounded. You go back to your family, you go back to your friends. My family were brutal. I was rubbish all the way growing up. In the Christmas Boxing Day Test match, if they got me out within the first 10 balls, I was rubbish. I don't know what you're doing playing pro cricket, and they were probably the highest pressure games I've ever played in. But yeah, there's all that to think about. You're not just playing for your country. It's a great responsibility, and it should never be taken lightly. But you're also playing for those other people, which makes it special. The people who've helped you on your journey through to get to where you are. You're playing for all them. So that's a lot of pressure.
Do we think maybe Australia will be viewed with slightly more respect as potential winners of this tournament after that performance?
What, Aussie's been shown respect? Look, I think the one thing about Australia, you can't ever count them out of a contest, because when the back's against the wall and they need to fight, they'll stand up and fight. So, look, I don't think it shoots them above teams like England. Pakistan are looking red hot at the moment. They're not quite up to that stage, but they're one to look out for now.
It looked that way, Alex. That was really convincing, wasn't it?
It does. At the start of the day, I was almost thinking something's missing from this Australia side, and I can't quite put my finger on it. They have a performance like they've had today, and you think actually, that they're a really strong side.
And it looked that way. It felt very controlled. It at no stage of that run chase did you think that even when those wickets fell in the middle overs that there was going to be anything too concerning for them. Smith 28 not out at the end, Stoinis 16. It was Warner who led the way, 65 from 42. Finch as well at the top of a score of 37 from 23. And those are the names that you as Australian fans you want to see doing well and succeeding. Right, let's hear from the two captains then. Alan Wilkins is down there with Dasun Shanaka.
You got off to such a good start, and you're 78 for 1. You must have been thinking in the dugout, hey, we're going well here. Then you became 94 for 5. What happened?
I have to admit that wicket is too good today, and we got the start that we really needed. But in the middle phase, we were not able to capitalize. Actually, we could have done a little bit well in the middle period. Missing out for good batsmen in that middle is really cost us.
Yeah, you needed someone to play the long innings, whether it was Asalanka or Perera. Somebody needed to stay the distance. That didn't happen. Is that a concern?
Yeah, it's a bit of a concern. On the other day, Asalanka really took us home in the last game. So likewise, the batsman who gets set need to continue his innings until 15-16 over. So it's an area we should really have to concern about.
So 154 on that pitch. Did you feel that was maybe 20-25 runs light?
Yeah, I felt slightly we are 25-30 runs short in that wicket because ball was coming really nice to the wicket. So I felt we are a bit short.
And then the heavy bombardment came from Aaron Finch and David Warner. That was just all became a little bit busy for you.
Actually, we know how good those two batsmen are in world cricket. So we have to, bowl well and contain them in the power play. So we couldn't do that. So in the coming games, what we should really need to improve is we should capitalize in power play as well with the ball. So I feel in the next game we might come better.
Well, that next game, you've got tomorrow to recover and look back on this, maybe forget it. But now you've got South Africa in Sharjah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the Sharjah wicket, we know we played 2 games in there, so we have read the wicket quite a bit nicely. So we got some good plans against them. So we should come well in that game.
Good. Have a restful night. Thanks, Dasun. Thanks very much indeed. Okay, let's bring in Aaron Finch, captain of Australia. Aaron, we've been here before. So play 1-2. How pleased, how many boxes out of 10 have you ticked tonight?
Yeah, that was a really good performance. I thought Sri Lanka got away to a flyer with the bat, and the way that Adam Zampa in particular was able to drag that back through the middle, and then Mitchell Starc to have a real impact and bowl them 2 overs back to back through the middle phase when we go 2 at the death. He was fantastic, Adam Zampa, and then I mean all our quicks were good. It felt like in the power play that they were going at 15 and over. The ball was flying a bit, but we still felt like it was a really good wicket. But yeah, to chase that down was nice.
Yeah, great power play by them, and then 78 for 1. Were you saying to your players out there, keep cool, keep calm, or were you beginning to get worried?
Oh, we knew we had to be a little bit calmer because when the ball was flying around, it honestly did feel like they were going at 15 and over, but then you look up and it was at 8 and over. So it was just a bit of a reminder to make sure that we keep sticking to our plans and don't start playing on emotion, because that's not when Australia plays their best cricket. So it was, they're such a dangerous side. They've got guys who can take the game away from you really quickly. So that was a nice performance.
And then when you and Davey Warner came out, it looked like you'd filled up the tank with very, very high octane petrol. What was all that about?
Oh, it's nice when you get a couple in the middle of the bat early, and we knew that the spin was going to have such a big impact outside the power play, Hasaranga and the off spinner. So
Theekshana.
Yeah, sorry, I had a mental blank then. So we knew that the quicks we had to take a little bit of a chance on, and we got away with it, which is nice. And Davey played a beautiful knock.
The player of the match award, I've got to get your opinion on this, went to Adam Zampa, 4 overs, 2 for 12. It was a close call with Davey Warner, 65 or 42. Was that a reflection, do you think, of the right decision for a start, how 100%. Adam bowled?
As a batter, I love batters getting it, but I think when you're looking at the impact on a game, Zamps was terrific tonight. On the back of a really good power play from Sri Lanka, the way that he controlled the game, especially from that bottom end where the right-handers had a short boundary to hit to. He was fantastic. He got big wickets. That was a world-class performance from him.
Final question. You've played 2, you've won 2, and now Saturday here, evening match, you've got the old enemy, England. Yeah,
it's always a great battle, no matter what format of the game. We're looking forward to it. We've had some great tussles with them over the last little while. They've been probably the form side in the white ball format for a long time. So, yeah, we know how they play. They're aggressive. They take the game on, so it'll be entertaining.
It certainly will be. Aaron, lovely.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Aaron Finch and Dasun Shanaka chatting to Alan Wilkins down there on the boundary edge. And he mentioned it at the end, Alex Stewart. That is the game we're looking at. The top 2 sides in Group 1. They've both played 2 and won 2. England ahead via net run rate at the moment. But this is the one we look for. England-Australia. How do you see it going, Stuart?
Oh, England, at the moment are far better than most. So, look, Australia have got to turn up and play even better than they have done today to even, get up close to England, I believe. But, you just never know. You never know in those contests. It's not about, form going into it, as I keep saying. Leave the form at the door. Turn up. The energy and the attitude on that day will dictate what happens.
I think I know the answer to this question. Alex, who do you think is going to win?
England. I don't even need to add anything to it.
Are you slightly more concerned from an England point of view after seeing that performance from Australia?
No, not at all. I think England are the best white ball team in the world at the minute, captained by the best white ball captain in the world. So I think tactically they'll have their plans, they'll know what to do, but anything can happen on a day. You get one of the Australia bowlers on song for the day and they get a quick 3 wickets, it changes the game. So both teams are going to have to be on their A game throughout the whole day.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That's on Saturday. Before that, 2 matches for you tomorrow. We have a double header. First up, West Indies against Bangladesh from 10:45 here on 5 Live Sports Extra. Coverage as well for Australian listeners on the ABC, and then for the afternoon match in the UK, 2:45. BST is the game between Afghanistan and Pakistan. from the group that we've seen quite a lot of dominance from Pakistan so far. Afghanistan had that big win against Scotland. They're a dangerous team. What can they do against the all-conquering Pakistan side in that game tomorrow? So look out for that, and look out as well on the BBC Sounds app for all the podcasts from Test Match Special. You can find the latest episode of A Good Pace for Radio with Timar Mills and the fast bowler Mark Wood from England, who are in the camp in the UAE, and we'll bring you all the details of what's going on during the tournament. So look out for that on BBC Sounds. Look out for our coverage tomorrow. My thanks to Simon Mann, to Stuart Law, to Alex Hartley. We'll speak to you again tomorrow.
More live Premier League football than anyone else. This is 5 Live.
Josh King for the hat-trick. He's got it with his left foot. Bailey on his left foot, going to get a shot away. The tackles go flying in. The shot comes in. It's a beautiful goal. Salah's in for the hat-trick. He's overrun it. No, he hasn't. He's scored it.
Over 140 live subscription-free games.
What a brilliant day for Liverpool.
More live Premier League football than anyone else.
And there it is, the final whistle.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Wigan with a cross from the left. Will Grigg! Goal! It's Will Grigg to put Wigan 1-0 up in the FA Cup.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings.
More live sport, pure live sport.
You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra.
As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including Rugby Union, with live coverage from the English Premiership, the Challenge Cup and Pro 14s.
What a long overhead pass. Oh, it's taken there by Nathan Hughes. He's up to the line and over. An opponent, lovely ball from Farrell to Jamie George, who's seen some space, and George is under the post.
Plus, international fixtures, including the Six Nations, Rugby World Cup and Autumn Internationals.
The underdogs have barked loudly.
What a take though! It's taken by Gareth Davis. Gareth Davis is going to go and go and go. Interception from Gareth Davis. He's run 3/4 the length of the field.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings.
More live sport, pure live sport.
You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra.
As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including Formula 1.
He's about to do his first ever Formula 1 start. All the drivers are now lined up at the front of this Albert Park circuit. The Australian fans are all on their feet.
With full coverage of practice rounds and qualifying.
Max Verstappen then across the line to start his flying lap. The sparks fly from underneath the Red Bull in the pitch darkness of the Singapore night. Here comes Vettel, faster still.
Plus, live action and analysis from across the F1 calendar.
All 5 lights are on and the first Grand Prix of the season is go.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings.
More live sport, pure live sport.
You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra.
As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including cricket.
Shrubsole in now. Bowlesful, Bowser! 6 wickets for Henry Shrubsole, England's hero. England win the World Cup.
Athletics, swimming, boxing.
Trying to get away from danger, trying to find some sanctuary somewhere in the ring.
Formula 1. Golf, Rugby League.
Luke Gale tries this time. Luke Gale!
Rugby Union, tennis, football.
Wigan with a cross from the left. Will Grigg! Goal! It's Will Grigg to put Wigan 1-0 up in the FA Cup.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings.
More live sport, pure live sport.
You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra.
As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including international cricket with Test Match Special.
Listen to this noise. We're right up in the roof.
bowls. That's driven. Lovely shot from Stoinis. Timed that really well.
Anderson goes in and bowls, and that is edge and caught behind.
T20 and one-day internationals.
Takes a couple of strides and then pumps his arms and legs, approaches us, bowls, he's bowled him! And Zampa has gone!
Plus, the ICC Cricket World Cup and highlights and analysis from the biggest matches across the cricketing calendar.
Shrubsole in now. Balls for bowser! 6 wickets for Anya Shrubsole, England's hero. England win the World Cup.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings.
More live sport, pure live sport.
You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra.
As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including Rugby League, with live commentary from the Super League.
Maguire with a kick, and it's Cuthbertson who's on the chase. What about that? There's an element of anticipation, of excitement. My word, bring it on.
The Challenge Cup, NRL and Super League Super 8.
Tries this time. Luke
There's places that you go in this game, and this is unbelievable.
Plus, international rugby league.
They've got numbers outside. McGilvray with a chance, and McGilvray will score. Brilliant England move.
When they start to put it together, when they start to get in the groove, they're going to score points.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings.
More live sport, pure live sport.
You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra.
As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including cricket.
Shrubsole in now. Balls for bowser! 6 wickets for Anya Shrubsole, England's hero. England win the World Cup.
Athletics, swimming, boxing.
Trying to get away from danger, trying to find some sanctuary somewhere in the ring.
Formula One. Golf, rugby league.
Luke Gale tries this time. Luke Gale!
Rugby union, tennis, football.
Wigan with a cross from the left. Will Grigg! Goal! It's Will Grigg to put Wigan 1-0 up in the FA Cup.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings.
More live sport, pure live sport.
You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra.
As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including tennis.
Serves, big serve.
This to take it all the way.
And the screaming and the roaring and the come on, still going.
With live coverage from every Grand Slam.
Nadal celebrates another straight sets victory. First couple of rounds safely negotiated.
Serena and her elder sister Venus Williams are making the walk of champions.
Every single one of these Grand Slam wins means so much.
Plus ATP Tour finals and Davis Cup.
What an extraordinary spectacle. This does not feel like it can be happening.
Well, what a time. The longest and the most intense rally of the match.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings.
More live sport, pure live sport.
You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra.
As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including football with Live Khalid.
Harry Kane inside the penalty area. Harry Kane finds the back of the net.
Lukaku shoots. Lukaku scores.
FA Cup and EFL Cup.
Wigan with a cross from the left. Will Grigg! Goal! It's Will Grigg to put Wigan 1-0 up in the FA Cup.
Plus, live action from the Women's Super League, Champions League and international fixtures.
With the free kick, she goes low into the far corner, and the header is there. Brilliant run at the back post, and Nikita Paris gives England the perfect start to the second half.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings.
More live sport, pure live sport.
You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra.
As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including cricket.
Curran comes in over the wicket. He's bowled him and England win! Amazing from Tom Curran. He picks up 5
athletics, swimming, tennis.
Hallett's back and into the net. And at last, Caroline Wozniacki is a Grand Slam champion.
Rugby league, Formula One, golf.
Good speed. Oh, it does more than a 360. That is a wicked one.
Rugby union.
It's intercepted by Johnny May, and May's going to score, no question.
Boxing, football.
Steph Houghton with the free kick. She goes low into the far corner.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings.
More live sport, pure live sport.
You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra.
As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including cricket.
Shrubsole in now. Ball's for Bolter! 6 wickets for Anya Shrubsole, England's hero. England win the World Cup.
Athletics, swimming, boxing.
Trying to get away from danger, trying to find some sanctuary somewhere in the ring.
Formula One. Golf, rugby league.
Luke Gale tries this.